มันแบบเป็นผมทุกวันนี้ครับ
Single-handedly trying now to do some magic against Buriram and Wasana said hell no baby and they hit a Booyah
ถ้ามองกลับไปนะผมว่าผมก็ยังอยากเลือกที่จะทำแบบนี้ครับก็ยังอยากแข่งอยู่อยากแบบเป็นผู้เล่นที่แบบแข่งไปนานๆเลยครับก็เอาแชมป์ไปฝากทุกคนให้ได้ครับ
And that wraps up day number 1 for Free Fire here at the Esports World Cup 2025. Falcons, of course, this team continues to dominate and showing us our new play style that most weren't expecting. With On Fire and as well as Peter, the defending champions from the original roster in EWC's Free Fire 2024, showing off that with anybody, they can reach the top. But with close rivals and close second place finishers, EVOS Divide looking to try and challenge it. In game number 4, we saw them overtake them with their very own Booyah. But that's not the only team I want to cover here today. We have got Team Vitality, who's currently still in a running, achieving a Booyah in game number 5. Pain Gaming during game number 6, showing that Latam can still bring the heat, being the only Brazilian representation to get a Booyah by the end of day number 1. Many C teams got a Booyah today, but Falcons ended on 98 total points by the end of day 1. And more importantly, our MVP of the day, EVOS Russia, with eliminations of 20, a total of 14,145 points. And of course, total assists of 9. This 16-year-old looks to shake up the Esports World Cup here of 2025 for Free Fire. But that's it. That's day number 1. We'll see you guys in day number 2.
the Free Fire at EWC 25 did not disappoint.
We're talking about 256,000 on the damage dealt, and that is some serious firepower.
350 eliminations across all maps. These players came to frag.
And it's not just a takedown, 107 on the revives just to keep the squads in it.
And glue walls, forget about them. 1,203 were destroyed. There's no hiding.
And that's just day number 1. Day 2 is about to get even crazier.
Yeah, because we are here in front of the Alkidia Esports Arena for the Free Fire at EWC 25, and it's about to begin. So let's go.
Hello survivors, and welcome back to Free Fire at EWC 25. We are here for day 2 of the action here, where we see Group B going up against Group C. That is right, we've got plenty more Free Fire action coming your way. But before we can jump into that, I do need to welcome my wonderful panelists that's going to be sharing all of their Free Fire knowledge with us here as we get ready for our matches. Introducing my beautiful panelists, we've got Raja, Gideon, and the wonderful Neptune. How y'all feeling today for day 2?
Well, I'm excited as I was yesterday, and it's a pleasure to be with you guys again. I like to mention that like every time because I'm loving making part of the show, and I'm so excited to see how it's going on today.
I guess it's a similar situation for everyone, especially what happened yesterday. There's a lot more that will be in store with Group C being introduced.
Yeah, I think that, you know, after day number 1 with groups A and B being so explosive and nobody really wanting to back down, some maybe trying to find their footing, I think B and C is really going to test the waters amongst everybody.
Obviously, folks. Now, we do need to have a quick look here at the format. Now, we are just into day 2 of the competition. So, of course, we're still in the knockout stage. We have 3 days of knockouts before we move on to the next stage. What we're looking for here, we're looking for the top 12. We want the best teams here at EWC before we can move on to that next stage. So, basically, you kind of don't want to be bottom 6, right? That is the goal. That's the line. Do not cross that red line.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams that is in that boundary, but we'll still have to find out if they can perform, especially from those coming from Group B. And well, that is the beauty as well as the risk that we have right now in the current format, because we only have 3 days for the knockout stage.
Yeah, there's not a lot of time left for these teams. So in terms of like trying to adjust on that fly, you got to come out of the gates with a good strategy, and people start to figure it out midway. We got to make those minor tweaks that'll give us that competitive advantage.
So it's really fast. So teams that are not doing that good, they need to be like, they need to clock just to start and try to get inside of the top 12, right?
Yes, top 12 is the goal. You know, another goal, though, we actually have our Alkidia plays ready to go. Let's have a look at our Alkidia top plays from day 1, because we've only had 1 play day so far of Free Fire, but we had so many awesome matches, guys. So many awesome moments. And we're already starting to see these teams shine on their first play day.
Absolutely. I think Falcons have made a statement for themselves that they're here to win it again, being the defending champions with two of their original players. But big shout out to, Evos Divine keeping it really, really tight. But I'm looking at you, Neptune. I know exactly what you want to talk about because Hotshot, Red Hawks, they were putting up some numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really surprised, but I know they have my vote in terms of the underdogs really rising up, and I love how they performed yesterday. But I know Hotshots will still be in the mix, and the Red Hawks will be resting. So hopefully, this is a time for them to learn a lot more. Because again, I talk about this that they look like those coming from the Southeast Asian region, the movement, the strategy, even how they go for elimination.
Now, obviously, with those amazing plays, we had some wonderful reactions as well. Let's take a look at the Crunchyroll reactions from day number 1 here at Free Fire at EWC 25. Lots of handshakes, lots of high fives, lots of high energy, because if you don't have that on day 1, I kind of worry for you going into your second play day. But there are moments you can see, right? Not only happiness, sadness, maybe stress, disappointment. I mean, even though you're experiencing those negative emotions, Neptune, do you feel like sometimes you need those negative emotions to push you forward, to actually uplift you to the next level?
Well, at some point, yes, at that moment, you can just let go of those reactions, show it, and then just take it back. Because you need to be ready in the next match. Because some just hold on to it a little bit longer. And that's why we're seeing some of the teams fail match after match. But we have seen some of the teams, despite being taken out early, they come back a little bit stronger.
I think that at least with professional teams and now esports organizations really taking into account, like sports psychologists, for an example, negative emotions, as long as it's channeled into the right places, can be utilized as fuel. Some obviously don't do as well with negative emotions, but others could really utilize it as motivation coming into the next game.
Now, speaking of, we are going to have a look at our overall rankings after the matches played from day number 1. Now, don't panic if your favorite team is at the bottom, because there's a good chance they haven't played yet. We are going to be seeing the first play day for Group C, but teams in Groups A and B, they already had their first play day. Now, keep in mind, teams that are in Group B, today is their last play day. After completing their matches today, it is done. Their fates will now rest on the shoulders of teams in Group A and C when they play their matches tomorrow. Now, is anyone surprised Falcons is at the top? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, Team Falcons, they just want to ramp up a little bit faster. So just in case there's the chances that they group up against Group C, they're already set. And we know that we have our eyes on some of the teams in Group C that is a little bit stronger. So they just take advantage of the chaos.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? When we're looking at it mathematic-wise, obviously they're clearly above everybody else, but then you start to look at the middle of the pack, and compared to the bottom 6th of the pack, how far is the discrepancy in terms of points? About 20 to 30 there. For any team within Group B themselves, this is their last chance to play to secure themselves a top 6 spot.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, I'm really surprised about Evos too. I think they are doing an amazing job. They are playing really stable, so they can get a bunch of eliminations, and they are really good at positioning inside of the safe zone. So I mean, I'm really surprised about them, and we are going to see them playing today again, right? Because they make part of the group B. So I'm excited, and I want to see how it goes.
Now, we are going to highlight Rasya from yesterday because he was our MVP. That boy, that man. Okay, you guys let me say boy. He had done a fantastic job, and that's day 1. And it makes me wonder, I want to see his day 2. I want to see him shine. And I think the goal for Rasya, for the team really, is to bring Evos into that first place, because we have that ongoing rivalry at the moment where it's Falcons versus Evos, and Evos, they get so close, but the Falcons, they just come in and swipe the title away. Gideon, I'm loving the reaction here.
I'm sorry, I was just looking at the screen. I didn't realize that the MVP gets to get their key and bring it up to the podium right at the stage, right? This is just, again, a huge compliment.
An honor.
Yeah, it's an honor, and it's huge compliment compliments to EWC for, setting this up and also creating the overall arc being, hey, we need this key, and eventually once you beat your competitors, you're going to be crushing it too.
Little fun fact about Rasya. I mean, though he's not part of the roster from last year because of the age restriction, but he was here as well. So he witnessed everything that happened from EWC 24. And I guess this is what they like, the power, the energy that he is going through to be able to bring the team to that #1 spot.
Now, moving forward, we do have our STC Club Championships update. So here's just a quick rundown of what has currently happened here for the Club Championship points. If there is a team that you are cheering for, take note of where they are currently on the leaderboard, because they may go up, they may go down. The competition here at EWC is still relatively early, so plenty of points to go around. But remember, the key points here is not just the points. You have to place top 8 in 2 titles before you are eligible. So if you can get those 2 titles, you're going to be in the running for that money. But Week 2 schedule here, folks, it's on the screen right now. Those games are currently ongoing along with Free Fire. But here is the club prizing, so you guys can currently see where everyone is.
Millions of dollars on the line here. And this is all for the honor of the best esports organization in the world.
Guys, I don't even know what to do with this amount of money. I can't even think. Probably I will buy like a car or like
you could
more than one car.
Buy 3 cars.
Raja,
or more.
you can buy a new life with that money.
Yeah, actually that's true. I would like to have that money too.
I mean, looking at the club championships, right? So far, based on what I'm seeing, I'm hoping that maybe Free Fire is going to be the game that shoots Falcons back up into the top of those standings and contests with Team Heretics and Gen G. Because even last year, when we were talking about like EWC's club championships, it was Free Fire that really broke the mold and set Team Falcons apart from everybody else.
Exactly. I mean, being in near the Falcons' nest, there's a huge chance that all that energy can bring them to that factor. So we'll have to see on what's happened.
I think I want to become a professional player to play in EWC the next year, maybe. I don't know if I have a time for it, but I would like to do it.
Hey, ideas. I'm just saying, Women's League Free Fire, it needs to start sooner rather than later.
Ooh, that is a good idea. Now, it looks like we have the Jabal Motorsports player arrival cam set to go because the players are starting to make a move. Some of them are at the venue, and I do believe some of them are just departing the hotel. So teams are getting ready to play. We are looking at Groups B and C here. So if you're rooting for any teams in Group A, they will not be playing today. They will be finalizing their matches tomorrow. But there we go. Our play. You can already see talking, conversations. We're seeing some facial expressions as well. Definitely some nervousness, Raja.
They look more confident today. I saw like Fluxo walking and laughing, and I think that's really good because that's the energy that we want to bring inside of the game. We want to bring like our Brazilian energy. I think we missed this a little bit because Brazilian is not doing that good as we expected. But today we still have like Alpha 34 playing, and we have the debut of Los Grandes, which I'm really excited to see.
I'm actually really glad you brought that up because I kind of noticed for power rankings, we're going to talk about that later, but some of you guys are actually voted for LOS. And I do want to hear your thoughts on the team because we haven't seen them play yet. But just a quick reminder, folks, here are our groupings. So it is B versus C. We've said this multiple times, but we've got to let everyone know in case they came into the stream late. It is B versus C today. Teams in Group A, they will finalize their last matches tomorrow against Group C. But for Group B, last play day, last chance, and for some teams, it could be do or die.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams right now who is currently on that A and B roster on that groupings, and like it's such unfortunate because some of the teams had great potential. Some of the teams right there had great potential. It's just probably luck or the chaos that Day One has offered.
Yeah, I think that at least when these teams were initially being drawn into their groups, most would be like, I don't want to be specifically in Group B, right? Because you have the highest amount of pressure on you. You have to do well on day number 1. You only have 1 day to kind of adapt. There is no break day compared to Group A. You play it, you test the waters a little bit. Group C is watching. And then on the 3rd day, finally, all right, we can show what we have learned. And Group C is like, we've already seen everything.
Now, I think it's time to reveal the Aramco power rankings for my panelists so we can see who are the favorites to win today's matches. Now, across the board, we have Raja with LOS, RRQ and EVOS, Neptune with Buriram, EVOS and LOS, and Gideon with Buriram, Fluxo and EVOS. Now, Raja, I want to hear your power ranking. Why did you pick these teams today?
Well, I will start with EVOS. I decided to pick EVOS because of the stable game, and RRK Kazoo because they finished the global finals at the second spot, so I think they will do an amazing job today. And LOS because they are really aggressive, and I think it's a Brazilian team that will match, like it will really match with the play. The way the Asian players like to play,
like a very fast, aggressive play style.
Yeah, exactly.
Neptune?
Well, Buriram United, of course, every time they are in the mix, especially in knockout stage, there's always on top. EVOS Divine, how they performed yesterday, the consistency, I believe it's still on them. And similar to what Raja mentioned, Los Grandes is just so aggressive. I was glued on their grand finals before EWC, and I'm looking like a similar tactics from Southeast Asia.
Gideon?
Well, I think for me, I like stability, but I also want to see how things are going to break out, right? I mean, EVOS, obviously, they were playing safe, they were playing good, they were playing extremely stable, but now with the introduction of Group C, who has seen the play styles, whoever was in Group B, like Fluxo, for example, can really start taking advantage of what are their key points of success, their routes, and not to mention their landing spots so that they can adjust as well. And of course, there's BRU. They're just, I mean, these Thai teams are always going to be nasty, and they always do really well during knockout stages.
All right, thank you, analysts. Now, it looks like we have put some content together for our wonderful viewers, especially for our Onik fans. We have put together a special video showcasing their road to Riyadh. Let's see how their journey was making it to EWC.
Mungkin Onik tahun lalu tuh gak ada, kurang persiapan aja. Jadi kita kesini tuh tahun kemarin tuh Onik tuh kebanyakan main-main, nggak fokus tujuan, itu aja.
Way too early. Now it's all up to Falcons and Bigatron.
Ya paling persiapan kita tuh cuman yang penting sehat aja badan. Paling kayaknya dari liga tuh kita kan kesusahan banget tuh karena ditabrak sama tim-tim lain. Dikarenakan kan tim kita tuh early-nya kurang tapi late game-nya ya lumayan lah. Ya kayak gitu deh.
Onik Olympus is going to bring it home. Only one remains, and Onik is 4-man strong. With the booyah and the champion.
Onik made history, becoming the first team from their nation to win the FFWS SEA Spring title. A booyah in Game 9 that shattered dynasties and silenced doubts.
Jadi di final tuh enaknya itu tim-tim yang kemarin nabrakin di liga tuh gak ada berani nabrak karena hasil dari scrim juga. Kita dari scrim menang-menang terus di early-nya.
Onik Olympus does the impossible. Can you believe it?
Untuk 18 tim semangat aja ketemu kitanya.
Onik are ready to play. They've basically got so much to gain for winning EWC, but we'll have to see in their first couple matches. Now, I have been informed we are almost ready to start the entire day, folks, so don't go anywhere. Match number 1 is just around the corner, but while that is all happening, we are going to go back to our Jamal Motorsports player arrival camera. It looks like the rest of the teams have finally made it to the venue. They are walking towards the stage and towards their battle stations. But whilst we get them all settled in, Gideon, I think we have to have a very important conversation about this grouping. Group B versus C. What's going to be the general consensus for the panel here? Do you think Group B is stronger or Group C?
I think the general consensus of not only us here, but also those online is that Group C generally should be the ones coming out on top, right? I think that Group B had an explosive day, number one, obviously with some stable teams reaching those top threes, but at the same time, when you're facing off against Group C and you look at some of the names and the clash of play styles, that's why I put Fluxo up there, right? In my power rankings, because I think this is more comfortable for them compared to other teams that are looking to not only just ram into you, I mean, obviously there's loss, but in general, most people are a little careful. They're not just going to be throwing bodies at you.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see though. We'll have to find out. But again, Group C is looks stronger because of historically Bermuda United, Los Grandes, the performance that they had, and they have history for EWC. 3 of the players are returnees. So it's just another day at work for this team, and I think they're going to rock it.
All right, panelists, thank you so much for joining me for this opening, because it looks like the opening ceremony is ready to go. It's day number 2 here at Free Fire EWC 2025. Let the opening ceremony begin.
Welcome to Free Fire at Esports World Cup.
ऐसी फीलिंग है ऑब्वियसली एक आप जब अपने कंट्री को रिप्रेजेंट करते हो एक वर्ल्ड में और जाहिर है उस चीज़ का आपको बहुत खुशी होती है और आप उतने ही कॉन्फिडेंस में रहते हो
ตอนนี้ก็คิดว่าได้แชมป์อยู่ครับเบอร์ซ่าก็ทีมโหดๆเยอะครับก็ไม่ค่อยกดดันนั่นแหละเพราะที่นี่ก็เหมือนบ้านฟอลคอนครับ Ini kayak turnamen world kan, jadi kayak mimpi kita lah, mimpi untuk menjadi juara dunia itu ada di sini.
बस यही है कि अच्छा कंपटीशन है और उसको हमने आगे लेके चलना है
Right now, pushing forward towards Brox. Brox is down by against Diva. Going up from behind, and they got Brox. Booyah!
Sempre em todos os campeonatos que eu jogo, eu sempre me vejo ali levantando o troféu, saindo do palco, sendo campeão. Então acho que é o princípio de tudo, a gente chega pra sentar ali pra jogar. A gente já tem que sair imaginando a gente levantando o troféu.
Looks with only one player left.
Oh, Koja is now down Vitality, bringing the pride of Indonesia. Push it towards Team Come with KOD. Zed gets by, but Dix goes out to Brox. Oh no!
Tahun lalu kita sempat gagal di peringkat kedua, tetapi tahun ini, di hari ini, di minggu ini, kita bakal pasti kasih yang terbaik. Kita akan pasti juara.
A gente vai ganhar esse troféu, a gente vai levantar ele. Enquanto vocês todo mundo, vamos embora, hein?
แล้วเจอกันในวงสุดท้าย
Let's go, Booyah!
What's up, survivors? Welcome to day 2 of the knockout stage at the Esports World Cup 2025. Team Falcons are leading the standings, fighting to keep their crown as the reigning champions. But Evils is not far behind. They are hungry and they are chasing the #1 spot. And now the stage gets even bigger. Today we are gonna find and welcome the Group C to the arena. And new teams, new battles, and even more action coming in your way. Let's drop in and see who will rise above. It's time to introduce the teams competing today too, starting to Bermuda United. They just don't win, they dominate. The Kings of Booyah are back. Team Vitality! Booyah on day 1. Indonesia's wild card came in fast and hit hard. Movie Star! Straight from Latin, R7 brings smart plays and deadly focus. Fluxo! The boogman of ending game. Fluxo's hunt is only getting started. A legacy of power from Indonesia. RRQ is built for the big moments. Onik! Champions of Free Fire World Series Southeast Asia, Indonesia finals are here to crush the world. Hotshot Esports! Paxton's finals are here just getting started. Alpha 34! No longer just a new blood, they are here to prove they belong. Core Memory Esports! Brands over panic, they are back to control the chaos. The White Tigers step in again, ready to strike. Dragon Esports! They may be new, but they burn wildfire. They are ready to ride. The Free Fire World Series Brazil champs have arrived. They are here to prove why they wear the crown. The status stage, the teams are ready and the pressure is rising. It is time to kick off the fight and see who will take control. Because day 2 of knockout stage starts right now. Buckle up and let's hit the skies!
Mungkin perbedaannya kalau raser di luar tim gua mungkin gua sih ngerasanya gua lebih agresif aja daripada yang lainnya.
There is also one more difference, his age. Abai is the youngest on the squad.
Perasaan saya senang karena mungkin di luar sana banyaklah pemain-pemain yang lebih tua dari saya. Jadinya saya pengen lebih baik dari mereka.
Despite the age, he's not the one to be underestimated.
Kalau ngeremehin pasti adalah beberapa kan. Tapi mungkin kalau misalnya sekarang ya bakal gua buktiin sih ke mereka yang orang-orang kemarin yang pada ngeremehin gua.
Abai didn't wait for permission to become the MVP. He took it, racking up Predator and MVP awards in 2025 alone.
Kalau soal MVP mungkin gue anggapnya itu kayak penghargaan terhadap diri gue gitu. Gue bangga dengan diri gue, tapi yang gue cari itu adalah juara, bukan title MVP. Gue juga agak sakit hati gara-gara kemarin gue gagal juara dunia. Nah, di turnamen ini mungkin pembalasan untuk tim lu.
The youngest on the squad, yet the first to dominate the stage.
And there you have it, guys. Southeast Asia yesterday, hot streak, 5 games in a row before Pain Gaming decides to end it. My question is whether or not that end that Pain Gaming gave us, the last booyah, will be the catalyst for the rise for the Brazilian teams today.
Yeah, welcome to the day 2 of the knockout stage. You're here with Tash, Bani, and also me, Mats. We are coming in with Group C and welcoming Group... we're coming in with Group B and welcoming Group C in our Day 2 bout. We see the likes of RRQ and Onik from Indonesia. These two teams would likely dominate here on day number 2, but they have to remember there's also Buriram, LOS, Lost, Rainbow 7, as well as Dragons Esports in the mix.
Yeah, and I think out of all these teams right now, I mean, we have a lot of highlights, right? We talked about Abai from RQ and his MVPs, but you don't forget as well about Buriram United. They have multiple titles from the players from last year. From EWC, we had Moshi as MVP. From FF Global Finals, we had Jonah as Predator, Wasana as MVP as well. That's why the panel was putting a lot of highlights on this particular team. They are a team to look out for.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I had a conversation with our fellow casters here, AJ as well as Husky, wondering like, okay, it will be so poetic if the end of the streak yesterday by Pain can be carried on today by the other Brazilian teams.
Yeah, it looks like maybe day number 2 would be a Brazil day. However, since that we are mixing in Group C, maybe that might change a little bit, but the sentiment is still strong here, especially with the likes of Lost, Fluxo and Alpha 34. And one thing's for sure, I would like to touch on to something. Since that we are in Riyadh, definitely I would like to mention Team Dragons Esports. They are the team from MENA, Middle East and North Africa. This is their first roundabout in EWC, and basically Dragons Esports is Alpha, Team Alpha roster, except for Remind. Okay, Remind had his run on EWC last year under the team of Al Qadsiya, but sadly they only managed to get last place. And a few things that Remind has made for himself, he was playing during Free Fire World Series Bangkok back in 2022 under Team Alpha. Sadly placed on 11. Same goes to Sentosa on 22 under Team All Stars at 15. And another player from Team Dragon Esports, I can say Yasir, also has a lot of experience playing on the global stage, being his glory days back in 2021 where he was dominating the Free Fire Arab Championships.
Yeah, there's a lot of history coming in here for this particular day, but I think when you make it down to the wire, Group B, this is their final day to play.
Yep.
This is a do or die moment. They are hot from yesterday. Most of the players, especially teams like Hotshot, EVOS, even Fluxo did well. Even, Core Memory as well had their insane moments. But at the same time, could the momentum be broken by Group C? Group C has not played yet, but they have seen everything. The VOD reviews last night, the rotations, the drop spots, they know everything. But the question is, in terms of execution, would it be enough to stop the momentum and the heat that Group B has? And I think for Group B, this is a do or die moment. You either perform or you don't, because you want, like Danley says, do not cross that red line. You need to make it to that top 12 to be able to make it to that next stage.
That's correct. The mindset of Group B, teams from Group B, should be to rake in as much point as possible. Yes, we know this is just a knockout stage. If you made it to the top 12, you're good to go. But for teams that are in Group B, they will not know, because they have to wait for A and C to see whether or not they qualify for the next stage. That's why the sentiment or the mindset of the players from Group B has to be, I have to take as much points as possible.
As much points as possible. And there was a conversation as well yesterday about what is more important. Is it the kills or is it the placement points? And I think Falcons, toward the beginning of the day, they were a bit more passive. I think they were really sort of reliant on those placement points and making it till the end. But then they changed up their tempo toward the end of the day, going a bit more aggressive, getting quite a fair number of eliminations, 46, only 2 shy of EVOS Divine, who had started the day off strong, hit the ground running, collecting as many elimination points as possible, and then pumping the brakes toward the second half of that day. So this is a very interesting contrast.
Yeah.
But by all means, it's the same, the same means to an end. Regardless, as we go into our first map today, this is going to be super exciting and more important for Group B. This is their final day to prove themselves.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like game number 1 is ready. Let's go. Fly into Bermuda. Opener for day number 2. A slight update on the rosters here. Vitality subs out Azrael for Faiz MKS. Meanwhile, Alpha 34 brings in Byte and also subs out Lins. And there you go. The players are ready. Here you can see the best player for day number 1, Rasha, with 20 eliminations. Will he still stand up to the title, or maybe someone else will take it from him?
really interesting. The great stuff actually coming from this kid. I mean, or what Danley says, man. I mean, one thing's for sure for him, he's very aggressive. He is very opportunistic. He plays these very tiny micro angles to perfection as well. Very, very fun to watch. And I am super excited to see how exactly he'll be going through this. And already we're hitting the ground running.
We got shots are heard actually from two different areas, Observatory and Katulistiwa. Let's see which one we are looking for. We're looking at Katulistiwa. EVOS is being decimated by Movistar Rainbow 7. The Mexican team starting strong, taking down members from EVOS. 3 members of EVOS now spectating their own lone member. Meanwhile, in Observatory, Dragons trying their best to at least steal a few members from Vitality. Sadly, they only managed to steal 2, while the other 2 managed to run away.
Yeah, Vitality yesterday had a pretty slow start. They struggled a lot in that first half. Wasn't able to find the momentum at all. But moving back into the game here, R7 on our screen as well. I think R7 is going to be very interesting to me. What can you share with me about them, Admats?
Okay, R7, this is their first run here in EWC. However, one of their team members, Soy Dea, has a lot of experience playing on the international stage. He was in 6 Karma back in 2024, where he and his team was playing at the global finals, but sadly placing on number 16. Meanwhile, all the other members are basically new. So it looks like they are doing quite well here for their first run here, first match, fighting against EVOS. That is, as we can see from yesterday, one of the strong contenders in our tournament, and they managed to almost eliminate them out early.
Yeah, interesting enough, yesterday I think in the beginning of the game, EVOS tend to always struggle, losing 3 fairly early as well. But unfortunately, they are very slippery. So most of the time, they do really bring back into the game as well. We're seeing a lot of aggression coming here from another team that's completely overcoming Vitality. Dick's knocked down, but the rest of Vitality still very much in the game here. So my question is for the Vitality, are you going to rally back, or are you just going to allow DRG to take this space away from you?
Dragons looking nice, 3 elimination points as of now. It looks like Alpha made their move towards Katulistiwa. This is where we've seen Rainbow 7 and also EVOS made their bout in earlier. With that said, Alpha, I don't believe they could actually manage to get a lot of resources here, as all of it has been taken up by team Movistar Rainbow 7. And ladies and gentlemen, we're up to a 4th minute of our game. We still yet to see a single team to be eliminated. Everybody is moving towards their rotations. We might see Buriram on peak. Meanwhile, for Fluxo, I believe they might be on the southern side of the map. But right now, we are panning towards Hot Shot Gaming, where this Pakistani team had a very good start of day number 1, but a bit rocky for the finisher. Maybe this time around they would actually redeem back all the mistakes that have been made yesterday.
Could be. I mean, a lot of teams are still taking their time outside here in terms of rotations. We did see a brief skirmish just now between Vitality and DRG. I think both teams are just not really keen on continuing this fight very soon. But a team that's really on fire right now is going to be R7. They have been hot, and I think they've been really quick on the uptick. They are the highest in the lobby right now in terms of eliminations, and now they're still hunting those White Tigers. With AIM got knocked out for the second time this game, and they are done. This is such an unlucky situation. EVOS not being able to bring themselves back into this game at all. He wasn't able to do anything, and this is just so unlucky. Yesterday there was a game where EVOS was knocked down fairly early as well, but they still managed to recover fairly well in the match after. So my question is, how exactly is EVOS doing this?
Maybe it's just, as they say, a slow morning, a slow start for them. So what I like about Rainbow 7 is that they started the game by fighting or skirmish against EVOS. EVOS managed to escape with 1 member, and the funny part is that Rainbow 7 continues to hunt EVOS up until the end.
That's a good thing, honestly. You really want to disable, because you know that EVOS yesterday, I think this is what they say, that you do your homework. EVOS yesterday, they got, they lose 3 fairly early, but they always come back into the game. And then they start rampaging. They start to collect a lot of elimination points. They start collecting, all these placement points. The survivability is on a high. So being able to just really, put your claws into this EBOS players, not allow them to be able to take advantage of situations and, you know, give them that second chance will really help stop their rampage right now, because currently they are second on the overall ranking list.
All right, looks like Seafox is being attacked by another team. I'm not so sure which team that tagged him on the bounty. So Seafox has to be careful on where to tread together with his team members. Meanwhile, you can see the Alpha is having a time of their lives with that locked airdrop. They unlocked it till the very end, so resources-wise, Alpha 34 is in abundance. Right now, we are planning towards Factory. We can see the bout between Lost from Brazil and as well as Dragons from Algeria. Rigby tries to go for a push. Ex-MIBR member will try to start it, but sadly goes down. Seafox with the shotgun. It takes him down. Rawan as well is now on the floor. Team LOS is being swept by Team Dragon. That is a very, very good attack. Counter-attack from the MENA. Team Dragon's now leading 7 points.
Dragons really hit the ground running. They're rough, they're quick, and they know exactly what they want. Very decisive when it comes to these team fights. Very decisive when they know what they want. I think that's really great about them as well. It's just that whenever they go for these fights, they manage to surround, they manage to box all of these players, all of the teams they go against, which does not allow them to be able to bring in those second chance situations. Does not allow them to be able to bring their teammates back into the game. Now the circle shifts. A lot of teams, or majority, already inside of the middle here, with Vitality, you know, continuing that streak, that strat of being inside and toward the mid side of the circle fairly early. But the compounds around them are also very, very much, you know, taken as well. Bermuda United is there, even Onik is there as well. And surprisingly enough, I'm surprised I haven't heard a lot of noise from Bermuda United yet, but I am excited to see what kind of firepower or kind of strats they want to bring into this game today as their debut game.
That is actually typical Buriram. In the early stages of the match, they don't usually find any kind of fights, any kind of brawls. Their mindset is that we're gonna play it slow on the early games and maybe try to get the weapons, the ammo, the utility that they needed to bring in towards middle, or maybe as well as the end game. And that strategy has been done by Buriram for various tournaments, and it is again being used today at EWC. And loss with the loss towards Team Dragons is an upset, especially for those for our panels with the Aramco ranking. Sadly, Loss is not doing very well for game number 1. Maybe the next one, Loss would actually come back again. But surprise, surprise, Dragons, not a team that we're actually eyeing a lot, is doing so well here. 7 elimination points, is still in the game. We just have to see whether or not Dragons could actually play the mid and late game.
But that's the thing about Dragons, right? I mean, you don't have any VODs about them. You have no clue how they're playing, because today is day number 1. And they are fully okay. They are so excited to be using the enigma, you know, that they have in terms of how they can take advantage of the situation. You know, no clue on where exactly they're going to be dropping. No clue how exactly they're going to be playing, at least for the Southeast Asian teams. Yes, there are VODs around for the Brazilian games as well. But of course, the dynamic will change as you go into international games, as you adapt into different styles of regions. Now, looking at Alpha 34 here, this is an interesting one because, you know, yesterday, I think they're not doing so bad. They're in the middle of the pack, if you think about it, 9th right now, at least on this group. And you know, with the change, they had Lins go out, Bite coming in. My question is, how does this affect their dynamic? Does it change their aggression? Does it change their rotations as well? You know, they already got 2 eliminations fairly early, which is honestly great. You want to try and collect as many of those as you can, but they aren't exactly going all in super early that we saw yesterday.
I think Alpha is trying to go for wide rotations. That's what I see. However, talking about wide never mind. I was about talking about wide rotations. Team Rainbow 7 is about to do that, but due to the fact that they failed their first attempt to use the mini jump pad, they did not manage to chase hot shot. However, Hotshot, as they try to retreat from Team Rainbow 7, they were met with Team Core Memory. And Hotshot now is left with one last member. I believe that member as well has been eliminated. Yep, Action has been caught, and Hotshot will be on 10th place here on game number 1.
The hottest of starts for Hotshot. Granted, yesterday they had a pretty great day. If you think about it, they managed to really catch us off guard. They were doing great when it comes to team fights as well. Survivability was good, but today, this first map just really catching them off guard. I think it might be the addition of Group C that's really, surprised them. Regardless, as the circle still hard shifting toward the right side of the map here, a lot of teams fairly already inside of the map. The map looks so still, very much hugging that side of the circle, and I think it's been giving them dividends toward the end of the day as well, because while they struggled in the beginning, they start to understand and adapt how exactly they can, I would say, weaponize this, I would say, edge of the circle situations. Either they become the team to gatekeep, or they can just wait out all of these teams fighting in the middle side of the circle and then finally try and go in to collapse after when everyone's a bit more weaker.
Nice angle with the mini jump and managed to actually get near towards the tower by the bridge towards Sentosa. And now you're looking, Haas is actually looking at Core Memory jumping in towards one of the sheds nearby Pochinok. And with that information, it gives a room for Rainbow 7 to rotate towards that bridge. They could camp it out here, or they could just use the hill nearby. However, on the same hill, Fluxo awaiting, and we always know that Fluxo, if it's in Bermuda, they will always be waiting nearby Mars Electric on the south side. Meanwhile, here is a small replay from Alpha R7 with a nice hit shot towards Crime, but Crime was then being picked up. Fluxo aiming R7.
Yeah, R7 taking a lot of pressure right now, just trying to rotate from under that bridge now. And Fluxo, once they see something moving, they are going to be putting that pressure in. They have the weapons, it's perfect to just penetrate those blue walls. And most importantly, with Woodson just rushing up forward, trying to play that first contact play. R7 now questioning whether or not they want to take this fight. No, they are retreating away. They're like, you know what, you want this bridge, let's take it. We don't want to take this fight fairly early. It's still too soon, and we don't want to go down. But Fluxo says, okay, if you don't want to fight us, fine. Let's move our sights over to Vitality.
Right. Meanwhile, talking about Vitality, who is in Pochinok. Pochinok has been decently quiet, but now teams are approaching towards the new zone. There you go. The siren is out, and movement from players will be more drastic than before. Those in Pochinok has to make a move.
Oh my God!
Nice shot by Buriram. Moshi takes down Dix. That is the first elimination here for Buriram Esports United in EWC 2025. They are still waiting for anyone that comes through. Moshi stays back on the second floor of the barn. Meanwhile, all the others are gatekeeping the step that leading up to it. Dragons nearby, RRQ as well. It's hard for them to actually do a rotation. RRQ actually exited slightly earlier than Dragon. That is a good sign for the MENA team to move in a more safe way. Meanwhile, Vitality waiting in the garage. Buriram really needs to make a move. Meanwhile, RRQ is quite safe right here. They are in a very good angle not to be spotted, and at the same time, the circle is just right in front.
Honestly, there's so many teams rotating in from this left side. It's incredibly hard. You have to win these fights, most importantly, but the teams that are winning, honestly, is Buriram United and Vitality. They have compounds, they have places to play with, and DRG stuck outside. How are you going to push it? There's barely any cover, there's barely any space. You are sandwiched between 3 different teams that are just ready to rush at you here. But DRG has other things in mind here, prepped and ready. They're going to go rush their way inside. They're going to take it brick by brick. They've managed to make a nice little wormhole of glue walls to be able to make their way into that zone. But over the other end, Onyx going rampant, as Gio's going to find one as well. But this rotation, because there's so many things happening, DRG has been able to penetrate into the zone safely.
Buriram from the kill feed looks like they are dominating all the other teams inside Pochinok. But as you can see, the blue team is not looking so good. Only Noki left. But oh, they found Noki in the end. And there you go. Onik eliminated on 9th place. Right in front is a member from Team Alpha, R7, holding strong, pushing back Joanna and also Get High. And then the snow grenade has been released towards R7. R7 has to retreat. Meanwhile, Buriram, this is the time for them to shine. They are trying to hunt the other members around them. However, Alpha 34 eliminated on 8th place. Buriram tries to push towards Vitality. Koja is now on the floor. Kill goes to Butsin from Fluxo. Faiz backstab from the back and Vitality eliminated at 7th.
You gotta really give it to this team. Buriram United just going super aggressive right now. Very, very explosive. But Buriram United, they're out in the open. They have a lot more space to work with compared to DRG. And DRG completely stuck inside the shack. Cannot move, cannot go. And the same could be said for RQ here, putting in a lot of pressure to the team on the other side of that map here. The kill feed is lit. So many players from Buriram United and Fluxo going completely nuclear. Movistar R7 is now out as well. As Core Memory is stuck inside of the shack. Where are you gonna go? What are you gonna do here? Because RQ are gonna force their way inside, trying to get as many of these eliminations as they can. But Fluxo, they want a piece of the pie. They want to rush forward as well. Core Memory gets the members of RQ here. The CQC is good right now. And RQ is done, punished for biting more than they can chew.
The landmine clutches for Core Memory. Now we are left with 3. Buriram Esports United, Core Memory, KOG, and also Fluxo. 2 Thailand and 1 Brazil. Fluxo has to stay quiet for a while, but Gio could be sniped. He should be proning. Bobs and Butsit near the monster truck. CRM still waiting inside the red shack. Do not even dare to come out. But they have to. The circle is actually edging away from them. Buriram has the view of everyone right now. Butsin Bobs is trapped in front. MP7 and you could only watch from afar. Now Buriram pushing forwards, following the movement of the zone. Gio and MP7 could catch them. Glue Melter on the floor. Joanna tries to go for the mini jump, but it is quite risky. Buriram just proning, just waiting what to do next. And finally they have to use it. Nice drop, but Joanna was blocked by his own teammates' glue wall. He's now on the floor, but Bobs as well. Skylar towards Bobs and also Butsin. They have to actually make way. Joanna finally woken up. Bobs goes down again. Butsin as well. Fluxo not looking so good. Butsin up and down. His HP goes. MT7 now trying to revive as much members of his team as he could. Now Fluxo decides to go for Core Memory on the side. Starlight versus Brazil, but it's Starlight that won that fight. Now it's gonna put it up, trying to finish off everything. And one more shot on Dunbo. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Booyah for Buriram.
Buriram was explosive in how they played as well. Very quiet from the beginning of the game. But once they said it's go time, it was time to go. They were just dominating every team that had to pass them to get into that circle. They get kept 3 teams out there. And in fact, it wiped out all of them as well. Do not cross this team at all. And most importantly, positioning is great. They were so aware on how exactly the rotations of all the teams were going to be. They did not have the advantage of the zone. Using a 2-2 formation with that jump pad allows them a nice crossfire as well, so that it becomes a meat grinder for any team in between them.
What a nice booyah. I could say 18 elimination points in just game 1. Their first game at EWC 2025. That is way beyond imagination here for Buriram. And yeah, their strategy of trying to focus their game on the mid and late of the match paid off really well. And what I could say from Buriram is that during the final moments of the match, they were in a very nice angle to oversee everything.
Yeah, but for now, we're going to go for a quick break. After this, more Free Fire EWC coming at you.
lihat nih. Gua pasang glue wall, gua lempar bom, terus musuhnya rata. Gimana tuh? Lu udah nunjukin ini ke kita 7 kali. Tapi setiap gua tunjukin ini keren kan?
มาซ้ายก่อนออกมาซ้ายก่อนเกตจะเข้าไปนัวกูชูเตงตั้งไว้ให้กูหน่อยโดนอีกเพื่อนจุ๊บหน่อยเกตสวยจุ๊บโจ้หน่อยเอาจุ๊บตัวเองปะกดขวาฟังกูกดขวาเฮ้ยขวาซ้ายก็ดาวเห็นปะมาดิตามมานัวแล้วบีบเล่นเลยเอาก้านะเอาก้ากดเอาก้า110จะดาวหน้ามึงอะดาวตัวเดียว110ตายไอ้โง่มาดิเตือนสวยโจ้เจ๊ไอ้เหี้ยมาให้กูกับมาเกียว
It's only game number 1 and already Buriram are establishing their position in this Group B versus C matchup. And they did break some hearts as well, unfortunately. We did see a lot of hype for the Dragons, who looked to be a top contender in that round. But unfortunately, there can't be a dragon in no King's Fairy Tale. But panelists, we've got to break that game down because I think we learned a lot about Group C and the condition of Group B. Now, Raja, we're starting to see Fluxo come back. I was a little bit concerned about them towards the end of yesterday, but it seems like they've woken up for game number 1.
I think it was because in the first match, they are being heavily targeted, and right now they could bring the real game that they want to put in AWC, and it's so good to see them playing like that because what a play from MT7. I mean, I'm really impressed about it. Even Buriram winning this match, I think it was such an amazing play, and I'm so proud of them. And also, I want to mention that Buriram is doing really well, as all of us probably was expecting, right?
No surprises there, really. No surprises. But I think at the very least, we're just getting a bit of a a shift of identity compared to groups A and B. Because groups A and B, we saw that teams were more willing to start chasing each other, more willing to actually approach fights a little more carefully and scarce. This time around, now we see that Group B and as well as C, there are a couple of teams who just hot drop. But do they get as much value as we thought? Dragons obviously being one of the bigger winners of them, but every other team that has been chasing them around, playing on the outer ring and looking to kind of maintain the damage that certain teams have gotten, didn't really get as many points as I was imagining. Even R7 was doing better than Fluxo because of that.
Yeah, definitely. But strategic-wise, that's normally the Buriram thing. Buriram United does that. Stay in the edge of the circle, really doesn't deal with a lot of engagement at first, and towards the end, as soon as they secured a decent placement point, then that's when they bring it on. And Abuya they took. But again, Dragons almost really survived that fight. If it wasn't for Buriram United, they could have lasted a little bit longer.
I mean, they got rid of EVOS, they got rid of LOS as well, 2 major favorites to really perform today. So we might have to keep an eye on the Dragons because, I mean, for game number 1 to look like that, lots of promise already, but we are going to be shifting over to a new map, unfortunately. Purgatory, we'll have to see if they can perform just as well on that map. Let's talk about some teams that did not look good in our first round, okay? Gideon, let's start with you. Who do you think needs to pick up their feet after game number 1?
Oh, hey, let's just go back to the vitalities of this world. Oh, we got to talk about that. I mean, I don't want to, hound on EVOS Divide, but I definitely think that, unfortunately, this time round, Vitality is definitely struggling a lot more. I think that even with RRQ at the end of the day, they can secure the initial points, but it feels like a very Indonesian thing of once we smell blood in the water, we get a little too much hype, or in Indonesia, they're like, gas, which is gas. Just throw more fuel onto the fire, and that usually bites them in the butt.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it. They match number 1. It's 3 Indonesian team who has been taken out a little bit too early. So it's really tough right now for the region. But I guess for those just coming in from Group C, it's just a starters. It's just a warm up. Vitality really have to double the hustle. This is their last chance, and we're expecting them to do a lot more because they did a lot more before coming to EWC.
Okay, I kind of want to bring up a discussion because, Neptune, I'm so glad you brought up the Indonesian teams. So I think leading up to today's matches, a lot of people looked at the groups and they thought, okay, for Group C, Buriram and the Indonesians. But unfortunately for the Indonesians, they just didn't look that great in today's matches. Now, keep in mind as well, this was their first game here at EWC, so maybe they're feeling a little bit cold. Do you think they may have fallen into this trap where they play the traditional style, which is a little bit slower?
Well, I would say it's okay if they go a little bit slower. It just so happens that, again, first day into the mix, it's a little bit scrappy. You might not be dealing with those in Group B because you know their drop spot, but judging from who took them down, it is the ones from the same group. So, it's just a exit strategy that they need to work on, especially on match number 2.
I think also the adjustments that have been made by some of the teams in Group B, but a majority of Group C that we did see rotating very early on into Pochinok to kind of hold that final position as soon as possible. I think this just goes to show this is the problem with Group B. You play early, people see your strategies, Group C is able to kind of come in not only fresh, but adjust, and I think that's why a few teams in Group B are looking ahead of time to say, hey, we need to take the space now. If not, we're going to be in a lot of trouble later.
Well, thank you so much, panelists. It looks like match number 2 is ready to go. So let's fly on over to our casters as we get ready to play on Purgatory.
All right, to reiterate what our panelists said, yep, the Indonesian region for game number 1 does not look so good. We've seen how EVOS got eliminated on 12th place, meanwhile Vitality on 10th. RRQ was the last hope, but due to the placement of landmines by Core Memory, exited them on 5th place. So coming into Purgatory, I believe this is the time for the Indonesian teams, RRQ, EVOS, and also Onik, show us something what they are worth of.
Yeah, I think this is a moment where they really have to wake up, especially when you are in Group B. This is your last day, regardless coming into today as well. You know, what's really exciting, I think, because Buram United has really stored us a really hot start. 30 points is incredible with 18 eliminations, plus that Booyah as well. We really shoot them up into the top side of that ladder as well. I mean, as we know, teams in Group C are playing catch-up. They are the teams that haven't played today as well, but they are in a situation, great situation, knowing that since Group B is about to leave, they can have the pleasure of being the teams to push the Group B down, and I think this is exactly what they are hoping to do here with these early fights, especially since R7 has already found Noki fairly quickly. That's the first point in the pocket, very precious.
Again, an early elimination here for team Movie Star Rainbow 7. They did the same while in Bermuda previously. However, this time around, they could only manage to find one member from Team Onik. And it looks like Noki has revived back. However, I believe he might go back to the green screen yet again as Noki drops nearby Games King from R7. Noki, the only lone Malaysia representative here in EWC, has to survive the push from R7. For the current time, it's only Games King, but Games King is bringing a friend soon. Noki could not fight him 1v1. And another point given towards R7.
Dying twice to the same opponent is just devastating. Wasn't brought back into the game, immediately camped. We're starting to see this pattern of teams really just chasing, their prey all the way to the ends of this earth. As RRQ quickly gonna find, smell blood in the water here because DRG just circling them like sharks. They have a lot of space to work with on the outside of the area. They can play off sound cues. They can play off, some micro angles as well. They immediately break the glue wall. Tries for some free fires, fight nothing quite yet because RRQ has really moved themselves outside, but Remind is just so aware what Dudes might be. Dudes falls. Adam and Mal also try to answer back, and they do. DRG now in trouble, but they are rallying back. Shouldn't be too hard to bring Remind back into the game.
Simox, it looks like he has to hide himself for the current time being, trying to prolong Dragon's survivability, but it looks like it will not be for long as Hotshot is coming in slowly. RRQ Abai is pushing towards Simox, but Simox won that fight, and now it's only Yasir. One experienced member here in Team Dragon has to sit down as he is hearing Hotshot firing towards RRQ. Abba has to fall back after being revived back by 18 Dia. And Hotshot finds Yasser and Dragons. First team to be eliminated in Purgatory.
But they're not done. RRQ here is just being very quick right now. Hotshots as well will eat the brunt of that damage. Quick put of that glue wall down. Just really isolate this fight here. Hasuixi, what are you going to do here? Trying to find the right way to swing. but Hazureksi just a bit faster with those shots. The better gun as well means 18 Deer MKS cannot hold on. That's 3 eliminations in Hotshot's name.
RRQ managed to actually sneak one member away from Fire Brigade. That is a very good engagement done by Hotshot. They waited for Dragons and RRQ to finish their bout before coming in. They found Yasir hiding in one of the ruins nearby, taking down Dragons at 12th place and almost eliminated RRQ. So right now with 3 elimination points early for Hotshot, they are smiling. Meanwhile, we're looking at Core Memory journeying themselves towards fields. Nearby is actually Evos Divine. And we might see another Thailand and Indonesian interaction here for game number 2. Team Core Memory Don. And then fun fact, Don is that member from KOG. That's why Core Memory ex-KOG comes about, because there is an existence of Don Boo.
Surprised the DRG got knocked out this early. Granted, their performance in map 1 was just super bombastic. But I have to say, a lot of teams are very much ready, a lot more ready if you ask me, to deal with the aggression that they dished out on game number 1, and they are severely punished for it, which is honestly expected. I think after this, DRG will think twice before really going aggressive on the get-go, probably rethinking how exactly they want to work with their execution coming into the next map.
I think that the way they tried to execute was good. It's just that maybe the members are a little bit slow, a bit late to actually provide refrags when one of the members went down, because it was a good strategy to use the Skylar to block any kind of blue wall on that second floor, so they could actually get domination on the second floor and just focus those RRQ on the first. But however, when they started to go on the first floor, the members on the second floor are still up there, didn't come out. So the members outside went in, goes to the first floor, RRQ spots them, instantly knocked 2 of them. The members from the second floor then only came out, and to see the carnage has been done. RRQ has weakened them by number, so Dragons just defeated just like that.
Yeah. To say they were just a little bit too greedy in terms of the execution, if you ask me. You want to really quickly come into the building, all 4 jumping in at once without leaving someone outside to scout. And there is that possibility. I mean, you want one player outside to scout with the possibility of a flank or for a long-range fragger. You just have no clue. And I think they went all in a little bit too soon. Now, moving on here, let's look at the rotations, where a lot of majority of the teams are currently still playing outside of the circle, and most importantly, just still hugging the sides here. And this could be huge when it comes to the rotations later, because it does put teams in a high pressure situation when it comes to these fights. Like this one right now, we're looking in front of our faces.
All right, you can see that the first zone is almost finished. There is a mass amount of players right in field. We got Vitality, EVOS, Core Memory, Alpha 34, and also Buriram, all in the same vicinity. Rainbow 7 right up north after they finished their loot in Mod House. Meanwhile, Onik Olympus is nearby, lost at Ski Lodge. On the south side, RRQ is still yet to enter the zone. Mal might be meeting with Fluxo, and Hotshot still playing it safe right around Lumber Mill. Meanwhile, RRQ Abai all alone in Marbleworks Quarry. So I believe that Abai might be the anchor for RRQ. Meanwhile, in Central, Fluxo going in.
Oh man, Mal could not even hold on. Just thought he was being very, very sneaky, just trying to hide right outside of plain sight here, hoping that the Fluxo boys not find him. And unfortunately for him, they sniffed out blood faster than sharks in the water. So he was quickly taken care of as well. But shouldn't be too much of a problem for RRQ at all, as the other teams are still trying to find their way into this circle here. Lost, we did see a brief encounter by them earlier, but it wasn't really a full commit in terms of fights either. So there is that really slow, at least for the time being, a gentleman's agreement in between the two. No, not for long. Onik tried to go in, and now General just shoots them out, swatting them away from the sky like flies, and Onik could not do anything to stop the onslaught. This is heartbreaking for the team, with a whole bunch of points falling into Lost's pockets. This is exactly what Lost needs to make up for that previous game.
Spot on by General, spotting that jump pad coming in with just the SVD in hand, taking down SVD Woodpecker, taking down one by one of members Team Onik. The last particular member did not actually come into the jump pad to jump, so managed to save Team Onik Olympus for the current time being. But yet again, kudos to General spotting the movement, and a very foolish decision by Onik trying to engage in that kind of a way. Even with that said, Onik still has the room to revive everyone back in, as we are still within the early stages of the match. Teams in fields is having their spot taken one by one, so they're going to cap it out. Meanwhile, Lost has entered the new zone, so they're going to wait. Meanwhile, Hotshot finally exited Lumber Mill right now, waiting nearby campsite in this ruin area here to see whether or not they could catch any players moving about.
R7 is doing phenomenal work. The same could be said about RRQ as well. In a lot of situations for RRQ here, interestingly enough, we see them in the back foot, like, Mal getting knocked outside, or, them inside of a compound, right? But for RRQ, their readjustment to be able to turn a bad situation into a good one is what I want to really commend here. The beautiful shot just now we saw from General. Nasty stuff, if you ask me. And it's just really just slowly giving Lost, that head start to be able to quickly claw them, redeem themselves from the, I would say, a quite dismal first map, if you ask me.
Alright, looks like members from Onik Olympus is slowly coming back into our Purgatory. Meanwhile, we're looking at Fluxo moving towards campsite, nearing themselves towards Team Hotshot. They are still outside of the zone. Currently, the damage from the zone is not so severe. They can still tank it. As you can see, MT7 has 6 mat kits that can be used, so it's fine for him and his team to actually still be outside. Meanwhile, teams that are inside are looking okay. Some are camping in their own spot. Meanwhile, some are still finding ways to rotate within the current zone. And RRQ is slowly gathering. They are currently on campsite nearby to Fluxo. So we just have to see what will happen to RRQ after this.
Vitality still continuing that. It's one of the first few into that circle. The amount of teams on the eastern side of the circle is kind of, surprising me. You have EVOS Divine there. BRU is close by. Alpha 34, including Core Memory as well. This is going to be a very, very big fight. The last time this happened, this exactly did. Because the EVOS this time around tries to be a bit more aggressive. They get the first knock forward here, but the amount of bodies thrown into the compound, and AimGod is just doing a phenomenal job of just juking every single player that comes into this area. AF could not hold on. They've lost 2 players already, with the only casualty from EVOS right now is Ray. Quickly brought back into the game right now, and EVOS did not done. They turned their sights into the players of Burram United.
Alpha 34, I believe, almost got eliminated right there.
They're just right beside the room.
Only Liu left here, managed to actually find space to heal up, but still he has to face the members of Team EVOS. Ray found him, and there you go. It's RRQ that went up first before Team Alpha. What happened to RRQ? I believe they have met with Fluxo. So Alpha number 10, RRQ number 11. And now we're looking at EVOS trying to murder Team Buyram. This is the team that gets the Booyah on Bermuda. They have lost Wasana, they are Russia. Meanwhile, Onik has been found. They are eliminated on 9th place. What chaos is happening right now?
There's a lot of things going on here, but I have to say Burram United was waiting for the right opportune moment to go aggressive, but EVOS Divine was very much ready for it! Burram United has lost so many bodies with only 2 members left. Get High Moshi side by side here. Individually, these players are brilliant, but against the 4, could it be a high ask here? They can isolate this fight perhaps, try to go for this isolated 1v1. They cross by each other. Ray finds one already quickly. Get High falls! And the same could be said about his teammates. Burram United, the casters, the Booyah curse still continues from yesterday. And EVOS this time are happy to take this win. They didn't do too well that first map, and they want to continue this streak. But all these fights are just taken on one by one because Core Memory has been waiting in the wings, waiting for the right time to strike.
Meanwhile, we're looking at Hotshot with Vitality. Konya and Dix lost the fight, as well as Fires from the shot from Jam at the back, basically helping Hotshot. Vitality eliminated on 6th place, and now Hotshot try to get some kills in, managed to get a few shots towards Team Core Memory. However, Joker steals the knock from Hotshot, taking down Zen as one. And now Core Memory still outside of the zone, is in a dangerous spot. Jump be taken down by Hawks together with shot from Hotshot. And Jump contributed a point here for Team Rainbow 7. And Hotshot moving towards the front, might be facing Rainbow 7 soon. But for Core Memory KOG, Cougar and Don is the only one left. And they have no place to go. They have to move in the open. They have to pray that teams are currently fighting while they are moving. And yes, their prayer is answered because Rainbow 7 currently putting bullets towards Hotshot.
Oh man, R7 rushes up forward here. He's spotted out all the members of where Hotshots might be here. It's just about making that space to get the closer shot. But they have to also be aware of the CXK also close by as well here. And R7, they're sandwiched. They're in a very, very dangerous position. Their glue walls are getting eliminated right now. But Lost somehow joins in the fray as well, getting as many eliminations as they can. And Lost still very much alive as the 4. Nando 9 is just slowly making sure that he can keep an eye out to Joker, trying to make sure he can get that final pick off. He gets it in the end. That's a quad for him. And Lost, this is the Lost that we wanted to see. The Lost that Raja from Death was hyping up about.
Sajid, inside the monster truck, could not be shot actually. So he just wait inside. A very unique strategy being done by one of the Pakistani players here. Sajid finally goes out. Could get a backstab, managed to steal a kill on Soidea. But yep, Sajid finally taken down. Hotshot on 4th place. Now we are left with 3. And all of them are Latin American teams. There you go. Movie R7 is now gone. It's only Brazil. Brazil 1v1. It's going to be Lost versus Fluxo. Will they contribute towards the list of Booyah, similar to Pain Gaming? Let's see how it will end.
That's a beautiful naked for out to quickly find out Bunsin, and the rest is just going to collapse. They rush forward here, but Lost answers. They rally, and that's the Booyah that they are really looking for. Lost, what an incredible game coming from this team. They have great at collapsing, they're great at rushing, and most importantly, Nando 9, he looks hot right now.
Oh, that was a surprise, and actually it was like just one done. Oh no, I could not see it. How did they manage to get the end? Was it a grenade kill? Was it the zone? But yeah, Lost with the Booyah. Another Brazilian team managed to get 1st place in their match after Pain Gaming. And for Fluxo on 2nd place, they did well. They maintained their ground quite strong. They flushed out a lot of members. They flushed out team Core Memory, they flushed out team Araku, they flushed out a lot of teams from the match. And meanwhile, Hotshot, they've tried their best, but sadly could not end the game well. And that is game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back here for our next match.
Quadrant. Dominant.
What's up, Free Fire fam? I'm Carol Bombshell, and I'm happy to be here for Free Fire at AWC 2025. And I'm also happy to be reunited with Los, the team from Brazil. Welcome, guys. We are going to play a fun game here. Basically, one of them will get a paper, and he can maybe draw something, use his body, and the other 2 will have to guess what he's doing. Are you guys ready? Estão prontos?
Yes.
Pronto. Quem vai começar? Who's going to start?
Aone. Já tá aí, já tá aí, já. Já olha pra lá, já. Pra não roubar, já.
Eu desenhar.
Ok, he's gonna draw.
Não vai entender nada.
Deixa eu ver o que é isso aí.
Ok, they are gonna guess.
Mapa de tesouro.
Vai.
Não.
Mano, o que é isso aí, Rony? Mapa, só mapa.
É um mapa.
Tá quente, tá quente.
Tá quente.
Come on, Nando.
Nova Terra.
Lembro do fluxo.
E o Terra?
Nova Terra.
Alright, next one. Rigby.
Ixi.
Não, olha pro lado aí.
Olha, não olha pro cara.
Olha pro lado aí, olha pro lado aí.
Vamos ver.
Vamos lá, Rigby.
Acabou.
Podem olhar já, vai.
Aqui, ó. Olha aqui, pô, olha aqui, ó. Tem aqui embaixo também, pô.
Lojinha.
Que lojinha, mano?
Sei lá.
Tá, vamos pensar.
Mano, pensa, mano.
Escudo.
Tá bom, ó, acabou o tempo.
Escudo.
Acabou o tempo, fala
Que
aí.
isso, inalador, tropa. Caraca,
Inalador feio.
Inalador feio.
Pô, que
Gente,
isso,
não vamos
mano.
dizer o que isso aqui parece, né? Mas.
Inalador feio.
Inalador.
Inhaler.
Isso.
Deixa eu coletar um aqui. Down.
Tailandês?
Falcons.
Passana? Hã? Abai?
Abai. Amassou.
Agora só o Rigby não tem ponto.
Cabelo.
Bandeirão.
Emote.
E agacha.
Gelo. Parei primeiro, eu parei primeiro.
Você matou no agacha.
Agacha.
Que porra é essa aqui?
Agacha.
Eu entendi bandeirão.
Ele tá jogando o gelo dele. Vai, Rigby, sua vez.
Agacha.
Ó, ponto foi pra mim. Olha pra lá, então.
Fecha o olho.
Tá fechado meu olhinho.
MP40.
Tá bom. Scar.
Bisão.
Ele vira pra você com o bisão, velho.
Fechou, galera. Vai, Nando, sua vez.
Eu gostei.
Dá pra me acertar.
Eu
Dá pra me
gostei.
acertar também, então. Gancho?
Caramba, bom demais. Vai, Raoni, sua vez.
Na cara.
Último, vai, o último, vai.
Ah, isso aqui dá pra fazer.
Essa é legal.
É.
Essa é legal, vai.
Vocês são, tropa.
Crossbow.
Caramba.
Ela tá lá no que foi boa.
Eu ia falar que
Eu ia falar que flecha, só que eu pensei como ele
And that's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Luz. Enjoy your stay here in Riyadh. And also, good luck in the matches, all right? Go Brazil. That's all, guys. I see you at the Free Fire at AWC 2025.
Joga pra trás, Nero. Joga pra trás, não do Nando.
Joguei.
Aqui, ó. Aqui na esquerda, aqui na direita, tropa.
Quebrei dois Jones.
Volta mais comigo, vou fazer step pra nós.
Volta mais comigo, relaxa.
Ó, tô rodando na esquerda. Na minha direita tem, na direita.
porra aí, general.
Dentro que tem. Ô, general, vamos rushar aqui dentro, general.
Não, caralho,
Vou jogar. Dei dash off.
Desativei.
Tem ainda, tem um. Matei, porra. Vamos, caralho. Tomar no cu.
Boa, tropa.
Bora, caraca.
Bora, Ronildo.
Bora.
Bora fumar, hein, tropa.
Welcome back to the Desk Survivors, and what a final circle! Are we at EWC or was that the Brazil final? LOS and Fluxo going head-to-head for that final scoring booyah, but I know Raja, she's got a lot to say about that because I think that was a final circle you've been looking forward to the most.
Yeah, it looks like the FFWS from Brazil. It was so interesting. And, well, they are kind of rivals in Brazil. So I think that, like, the crowd must be, happy to see them, like, fighting against each other. And it's so good to see them performing that good because that's what we were, like, expecting from them. Fluxo, I think it was like such a bad day yesterday for them. So today they can be much close of what they usually do in Brazil. And Los, it's a good start, but I mean the first match wasn't that good. But right now they can like show the Los play, you know, like the play style of them. And I would like to mention too about the R7 because they are like the Latam. They are from Latam, so they are playing so good too. And it's good to see because they are like the dream team from Latam. And well, I'm I'm really proud of them. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you guys like to see Brazilians in that way, like just Brazilians in the ending of the safe zone.
I'm sorry. I thought my power ranking was like, I do believe that Brazil has a really good chance at getting this. I will admit that I have my doubts about R7. It looks like they were in a really good spot. And then Hot Shot happened. The monster truck shenanigans, oh my goodness, hidden underneath. And honestly, I think that R7 might have had an opportunity to disrupt both Fluxo and as well as LOS in that final ring, right? 3 Latam teams, and all of a sudden Hot Shot decides to be like, no. One of these teams don't get to have as much fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite different. Like that from what we've seen so far. And I love that Lost really is coming back strong. We did mention that Lost is coming from a different squad. It might be a different brand, but they're just returnees from EWC 24. So they have the experience. They also have their like rivals who they want to beat right now, and a lot of movements coming from Southeast Asia. So they're just being one big package of Free Fire champs.
Okay, we got to talk about groups because we've already gone through 2 games and Group B is basically down to their final 4 games. How are Group B teams faring? Are they feeling kind of good, or do you think they actually need to pick it up a little bit? Because remember, you only got 4 more games. You've already played 2 today.
I'll be real with you. I'm getting a little nervous, right? That's 2 games in a row that we've seen EVOS Divine not exactly getting it, really barely making into double digits worth of points. And that is something that you need at this stage. Getting double-digit points is going to secure you. I don't get the best positioning, but it's enough buffer for me to maintain my top spot overall.
Well, I agree with that, and they are not being like the stable team as I thought they could be today. And it's also good to add about Alpha 34 because it's one of the Brazilian teams that is not clocking. So I don't know, it's gonna be so hard for them to like pass through the next stage. Pass through the point rush, you know. So they need some points, and they are not doing really well today again. So it's gonna be hard. I don't know. They need to change like everything.
Yeah, I mean, don't worry. I think Alpha 34 still have 4 more chances to be able to do it if they adjust, because it's a matter of adjustment. We've seen Lost really make that adjustment. They lost out. Sorry, pun intended. They lost out on that first match and then grabbing that Booyah. So I guess they already caught up. And other teams really need to do that. If you want to catch up in the points, if you lose out in early engagement, just keep your distance. You keep your rotation a little bit tighter. Keep your movement a little bit slower, and then catch up once you're in the final circle. At least you have the placement point. You can even shoot them from afar. Elimination wise, it adds up, and then possibly a Booyah.
Okay, here's the thing though. Can you really afford to play slow when everyone else has decided to hit the ×2 button on these rounds?
That's the thing. I was about to bring up the exact same thing, right? Because I feel like right now, when we're looking at the overall rankings, just notice the teams that are generally struggling at this point of time, and we'll see more of it change later down the line, are teams who have not only adjusted, but kind of understand that a lot of their strategies are starting to clash with each other, not in the best ways possible. Mid-game seems to be the most comfortable for everybody, but early to late has been such a big struggle. I think one of the few teams that have been doing well in map number 1, like Core Memory, making it not only into top 5, but the main issue is that, hey, we're kind of stuck here, right? Now other teams have more util to get around us, and we don't know how to kind of push through. And the same can be said for game number 2 as well, where we see a lot of Southeast Asian teams saying, we need to make a move. Oh no. Everybody's keeping each other honest. We can't get out of this.
Yeah, I guess one thing that the team, especially from Group B, has to put in mind, at least 130. If you reach that number by the end of the day, then you're secured to be on the top 12.
Okay, Neptune, I do know you have some numbers in front of you. We're going into Kalahari next. Who needs these points on Kalahari? Who needs them?
Well, definitely those who need them are, well, apart from those in Group C, Alpha 34, Team Vitality, Hot Shots, those teams, like, despite of how they wowed us, they still are not surviving a little bit longer. So they need to go for survivability in that map, because if you just go into the open, you will be hit by the snipers.
And not to mention that there are some notorious teams who are devastating on this map as well. It's going to lean into teams like RRQ, for an example.
Indonesians in general.
Yeah, then I think this is the starting point if Indonesia wants to start to generate momentum for themselves to try and slingshot their way to eventually the point rush.
All right, analysts, thank you so much for sharing with us your know-how on what we're expected to see in our next matchup. Now, things are starting to heat up because we are just about ready to jump into Kalahari, but we're not quite there yet. So I think it's a good time to do a bit of a temperature check on the main stage. Husky, AJ, how's it feeling over there?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, survivors of all ages, welcome to the temperature check here with your boys Mustachio and Husky. We know you guys have been waiting for this for quite a little bit. Husky, give us a lowdown of what happened yesterday, man.
We got to start with day one of the Free Fire at EWC 2025. Team Falcons, they brought on the back 2 Booyahs out of 6 rounds back to the Falcons' nest before teams like Virtus Pro, Vitality, Evos, and Pain Gaming bring the back home for themselves. But there are also other teams that cooked up a full course meal. Hotshot Esports from Pakistan, Red Hawks from Bangladesh. They also tried to complete their service, but unfortunately, Red Hawks dropped the plate at the last minute, but Hotshot Esports got a 5-star service. Certain teams struggled though on day number 1. For example, Vision System and Alpha 34. They tried to get in the kitchen, but they burned down the entire establishment instead. Hopefully, they can recover.
When they told me it was a temperature check, I expected the teams in Group B to start off this day hot, but it is Group C kicking off stuff here absolutely hot. In just game number 1, Buriram United Esports hit 30% of whatever Falcons took in the whole of their 6 games, but unfortunately they flunked out in game number 2. It's all right because we need to give way for the rest of them as well. We've been waiting for the Brazilians to wake up for quite a while now, and the Lost Boys ain't lost anymore. They found their way to the final circle. They found their way to a Booyah as well. But you know what's the most surprising thing here? Hotshot. They are still keeping up, Husky.
Last year we talked about Hotshot having an opportunity to qualify. They finished 15th place in the knockout stage, but this year is looking pretty good, getting closer and closer for that dream playoffs run for the Pakistani team. But I gotta say, Lost, they come into this having players from last year finishing in 4th place in EWC 2024. The Brazilian teams, they are hyping it up. Group C is getting hot.
Yeah, and of course, you guys are obviously looking for Fluxo as well. Fluxo, as always, I think nobody needs to be worried about Fluxo being hot because they've always remained chill. That's exactly what the Brazilians are made of. Absolute ice cold stuff in their veins. They're hanging around the mid-tier table at this point of time. Jumping up to the top is not what they're looking for. Consistency is key. At the end of the day, we are only looking for the top 12 teams, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to get there. But the question is, will Hotshots be able to keep up this momentum for themselves? Tomorrow, will Red Hawks be able to heat themselves up with whatever that's happening here? Because you know what? They were on fire as long as you and I were on the mics, and then the 3 final games, they kind of simmered down a tad bit.
And I have 2 teams that I want to quickly bring up that were actually on fire right off the get-go from Group C. Rainbow 7 and Dragon Esports out of nowhere, taking out teams like Evos, taking out teams like Vitality, bringing the fight to teams like Buriram United Esports. You cannot get more hot out of the gates like that. Guns blazing and everything on the kitchen sink thrown at the world stage. And this is what we want to see from all the competitors on this main stage.
Absolutely. And of course, that's the wrap up here for the temperature check. We'll be back with you guys maybe later on. But for now, back to the studio you guys go. We'll catch you on the desk later.
Thank you, gentlemen. Welcome back to the panel, folks. We are almost ready to jump into Kalahari, so don't go anywhere. If you have your snacks, or if you don't actually, quickly grab them right now, but make sure you're back in like a couple seconds. Kalahari, that's that next map. It's going to be a pretty hot one because the Indonesians in particular are really eyeing this map. So the question I have today is, are they going to be the targets? Are they going to be the victims of this next round? Because this is public knowledge. It is not a secret that Indonesia typically performs well on Kalahari.
Yeah, I mean, judging from how the drop spot is for RRQ, Refinery is their home. That's their nest, though they're not the Falcons, but that's their nest. Evo's Divine, Sniper, Razia, like that's something that really is also common knowledge. So snipers, they will take the high ground, but again, there's a lot of counters that we've seen from the past, and I think this is something that the other teams can pull out as well.
Yeah, I think what it's really going to boil down to, and I think we even saw this in EWC 2024, right? A lot of Brazilian teams have decided to take the southern side of it, then Twisted Minds now coming in as Virtus Pro. Mammoth is a very key point because the first 50-50 is on that first ring. If it's towards the northern side of that map, suddenly Refinery becomes a more pleasant place to kind of sit around. If it's on that southern side, we do see that a couple of Indonesian teams, especially if contested, are forced off of it, like to rotate to that southern side. Mammoth is a really good cutting edge point to cut them right in half, but also not only to deny them loot, but a good vantage point in case Refinery gets contested as more teams start to come by through mid and late game.
And for the Indonesian teams, knowing that this is probably going to be coming their way, what do you do? Are you the ones to decide you change your drop points? Do you just compete and fight through all of this chaos? Like, what do you do? What's the backup plan when you're the target?
Yeah, I guess like changing your drop points is a little bit too late now because pretty much real estate had already been taken. So it's more of how you get in position onto the shift of the circle, and definitely with the update that we have, like we are seeing a lot of like different shift. I would say difficult for the other teams to come by and get to the other to inside the next phase that quickly. A lot of teams has been hanging by on the edge, as you keep on pointing out, and a lot of teams, more than half, are struggling to run them through.
I think at this point, the only Indonesian team that needs to be a little bit more worried is definitely going to be EVOS Divine, right? I don't think they naturally want to contest for a Refinery, but if they have an opportunity to eventually get on top of it later in the game, then sure. Vitality is the one I'm most worried for because we've seen it within Southeast Asia. When it's RRQ and Vitality, 80% of the time, RRQ comes out on top.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. It looks like we're ready to jump into Kalahari Survivors. Throwing over to our casters as we get ready for our next matchup.
Incredible stuff coming from the teams today. I mean, starting off the day strong here with 30% of the points collected by Falcons yesterday was already Buriram United, and then following up very, very close on match 2 was lost with 28, only 2 points shy. I have to say, a slower start today shows a more explosive end. What do you think, Edmats?
I think that is just the beginning of domination from Group C. That is not something that you would like coming in from Group B. And for Kalahari, as said by Daniel Lee, the Indonesian teams are taking this map to be their map to shine. However, yesterday we've seen Team Falcon gets the booyah on this one. EVOS was so close, but sadly no cigar. So coming in on game number 3, teams from Indonesia that I think would actually try to take advantage of this map is Team Onik Olympus. They are not performing very well in Bermuda. Same goes to Purgatory. I think in Kalahari, this is their time to actually redeem themselves.
Speaking of Onik, right? I think they had such terrible luck today. You bring your teammate back into the game, immediately eliminated. You try to get away from teams, who are executing toward you. You get shot in the back as well. And honestly, I would love to see a bit more aggression coming in from Onik. In most situations that they get completely dominated, they would try to run away or move away from other teams. They don't want to take these early fights, and it has resulted in them getting shot out of the sky. I want to see them receive these fights with fire, show a bit more dominance, and perhaps this is the map that you mentioned. This is a map they're more comfortable on. Perhaps they can do so.
All right, talking about comfortable, it looks like CRM or Core Memory is in a comfortable spot, getting one elimination. And might go for a second one, but nope. Ray gets the hit on towards Kruger. Jump tries to go for a refrag. Only has one glue wall to work with, but he still wants to go. No armor, no helmet, risking it all. Nope, no cigar for Ray as for Jump as well as Ray. 1v2 comes out swinging and happy.
EVOS perhaps have dropped the ball in that first map, but I think in the second map they performed quite, I would say, decently enough to bring them back into this game. And I think this 2 points early as well gives them enough points, at least slowly bring the way up to the top again. They were just, shy a few points, 10 points to be exact from Falcons in the beginning of the day. My question is, and I think what they want to do is to be able to overcome Falcons, last year's defending champions of Free Fire at EWC 2024. Now, into this particular one, yeah, they have dropped themselves a bit more, I would say, toward further away toward confinement. They are pretty much uncontested when it comes to their location. They are free to loot. They are free to prepare themselves for these fights. Now, my question is, as the circle shifts here, when they run into teams, maybe even Core Memory, maybe even DRG, maybe potentially Vitality, are they actually going to keep going aggressively like they did yesterday in the beginning of the day, or are they going to be playing slow like the end of the day yesterday?
We just have to see how would develop in Kalahari. Ladies and gentlemen, if I would like to lend your eyes on towards the right side of our screen, you can see on 15, DRG actually managed to get 3 elimination points. That is towards Team Hotshot. Hotshot was almost eliminated in their bout. I believe it was near Bayfront or somewhere around there. But yeah, 3 points for Dragon. Sadly, was not being observed. I think it would be a good fight, but then again, we still can't get the time. So Dragon's good job for the early game. And looking at RRQ, yeah, we got it. Thank you, replay. I love you guys. So this is the fight where Hotshot got decimated by Dragons at Bayfront, and a very good start here for team from Middle East, North Africa.
Interesting stuff as well. A lot slower than yesterday, that's for sure here. Looking at the map right now is Bermuda United and Fluxo are just side by side. I am curious to see what's going on to the southern side here. We did see a bit of a skirmish for Vitality as well. One of their members getting one player already fairly early. Loss is also close by as well. Whether or not Loss actually wants to be able to take this early fight should be seen, but I'm not too sure if Vitality is aware that the final member of Hotshots is still very much close by. He's still very much quiet as well. He's trying to make sure he can go and reconvene with his teammates.
They actually know where's Hotshot actually, because they have put bounty.
There we go, that's the fight.
So I believe it was a strategy to go away. But talking about fight, Tash is pointing out that Buriram and Fluxo meet each other. Solara will be the first casualty in their interaction. So 2 elimination from team Fluxo. And yep, 2 Buriram members has been eliminated for the current time being, but still have a lot of space and time to revive it back. So Fluxo still playing the southern side of the map. In every map that they are playing, very nice rotations as well.
Loss is doing good right now. Loss already, while we were looking at the screen right now, they already got I think 1 elimination as well. They're just playing very slowly, just collecting these points. And it's not all from full 4v4 fights either. And now they have access to this armory. This should really reinforce themselves when it comes to firepower, when it comes to fights as well. I think they have a fairly good idea where the other member of Action is. I think they're looking for the hunt as well. And over on somewhere on the map as well, Rasha is going huge with 1 pick off, with Adam getting knocked down already.
Nearby confinement, nearby command post, sorry. Vitality spots a team Onik. Adam has been eliminated. Now they are actually pushing bullets towards Noki, left alone in a small building. Noki just have to sit quiet. Maybe it puts Noki. Trying to jump hook away from Vitality, but sadly the pole says no. So another point here for Vitality.
It's unfortunate. I mean, you want to be able to get out quickly, but even then, there's no guarantee that he's going to be able to grapple away safely as well. Because we've seen Vitality in the previous game, and it was ridiculous as they shot the players running away from them. It was just insane. Now, coming into this one, DRG is now on fire. They started the day strong, at least on the first half of that map, and they did pretty decently as well. 3 eliminations already in the bag as we move our sights onto Alpha 34 alongside R7 here. R7 rushing away to safety, running away. They do not want to take this fight, but Games King is not allowing that to happen. You see us, you fight us, and if you show your back to us, you will fall. Steal them away.
3 points here for Rainbow 7. Caught 1 of the members from Team Alpha 34. And Alpha 34 does not want to be in that kind of situation anymore. And this is a short replay. We could see Anas was not spotted by Rigby. Rigby did not check his corners properly. So basically he was invincible and invisible at the same time.
What in the plot armor? What the hell? Okay, we take those. Anyways, Hot Shots already very much back in the game as well. Taking that space in confinement already. Now, majority of teams are still trying to make their way to the middle here. Vitality close by. My eyes are toward Vitality, DRG, and Onik as well as EBOS. They're just side by side right now. They're so close by in that very confined area here, but we're not seeing any shots. So there's this gentleman agreement for now, I believe, that no one shoots, no one falls. And meanwhile, over to the middle side of that map here, I think RRQ are very, very comfortable. That area has high, insane high grounds as well. It's looking good when it comes to long-range fights. And in terms of repositioning as well, it gives them a lot of value. And now the circle hard shifts toward the right side. They're still very much okay.
Yeah, Refinery. As said by our panelist Naptu, Refinery is basically RRQ HQ for Kalahari. They're going to stay there. And again, the best thing about Refinery is that the place is usually in favor of zone number 2 and maybe zone number 3. In some cases, up until the end of the game. So being in Refinery is actually a very good spot. Meanwhile, we're looking at Buriram struggling to actually climb up the hill. Joanna was caught out by Team Rainbow 7. Hearts takes him down with a headshot with the shotgun. And Joanna is now no more. Buriram is now being hunted by Team Rainbow 7. Moshi will be the next target. Gamesking entered the 10 and Moshi is on the ground, giving the 5th point here for R7. Wasana and also Get High running for their lives, getting away from this massacre team. But nah, Hawks says no. I'm gonna push and I'm gonna hunt. Hawks together with Games King and Soidea and Joker as well. All of them are moving together as a unit. This spots Wasana. They want the members of Buriram. It's gonna be 1v4. Wasana goes down. Now we are left with Get High. But Soidea locking in. Gets a few shots on towards Get High. Buriram might be eliminated here. Joker steps in. Gets a shot with the sniper. AWM. One more. Joker, what are you doing? You're not supposed to do that. Buriram eliminated by Rainbow 7 at 12th place.
Oh my gosh! Buriram United could not do anything at all. They bit more than you can chew here, trying to fight a team that's on the high ground. And the same could be said about Alpha 34 here. As soon as they get down, they put in a bit of chip damage for RRQ toward them as well. And RRQ looking to collapse. They are chasing right now. Not too sure if they are aware that Core Memory is close by here. And Core Memory has done a phenomenal job of just waiting for these weak moments right in the middle of the fight where they're able to just overcome so many teams. And I think RRQ is aware they're just camping inside of one of these tents. They don't want to look to initiate quite yet. But as we move over to the other side of the map here for Hot Shots, this is interesting because just now they were the team that was in trouble. They would be knocked out many times, but they are slippery. They're able to bring so many of the members back into the game action because he wasn't seen just now, becoming that invisible man. Technically has given Hot Shots a second life in this map.
Again, I would like to emphasize hats off towards Joker playing the unusual play of a sniper. We rarely see a sniper chase someone. Usually you get the rusher to do that, but this guy with the AWM in hand and in all odds again a member of Buriram, Get High, for goodness sake, he could win that clean. Oh my god, anything can happen. This EWC such a special moment for everyone. And yeah, I'm still hyped to see what else could we get here from our EWC 2025. Again, we're still eyeing on Hot Shot right now. They spotted a few opposing players, opposing teams. They found Fluxo for a while, but Fluxo said, nah, we're not gonna engage with you because we know that we don't have the capacity or maybe the weapon to properly take you down. So we have to fall back. And with that said, Hot Shot continues their rotation, now slowly going to maybe around that 3-road intersection between Command Post and Stone Ridge, and they finally found a compound, found a building that they could stay in and maybe sit down, quiet, and try to re-strategize.
Linz falls here. RQ on a hunt for quite some time. I think they were already marking the players of Alpha 34 for the time being as well. We start to see them get aggressive here on this mini-map, and I think the same could be said about Vitality as we go into this particular area. Vitality right smack dab in the middle. I would love to see where exactly they position themselves here because they're getting shot from 3 different areas. They're sandwiched between 4 teams. In fact, excuse me, but now our eyes onto R7 here. They don't have access to the circle quite yet. It shouldn't be too much of a hassle for them to get in. Now with the 3-1 formation there with Joker just rushing around. Joker could be that first point of contact if something were to happen as well. So this could spell trouble. Meanwhile, they already spot out the members of DRG. And DRG on this high ground, it's going to be a pain to rotate over here. They immediately react by jumping down. They cannot answer back these shots. But what's more important right now is this positioning. As the zone pushes, as the circle shrinks as well, they need to prioritize where exactly they want to go.
Dragons, they tried to play the elevation game, tried to catch teams coming through command post, but sadly, no one was in their sight. And to add salt to injury, they were shot by Rainbow 7 as well. And they are still being locked in by the Mexican team. So, Dragons, one of the representatives from Middle East and North America, has to find a way to try to avoid or maybe fight Rainbow 7 head on so they could have a safe route to rotate. And it looks like they are up to go through command post, through the inside. A lot of cover here, but surprises can come out from left, right, front, center. So they are risking this. Putting one at the back, splitting to 3-2-1 strategy. C4, Yasir and Simox will be in front. Meanwhile, Yasir will, not Yasir, Remind will stay at the back just in case they could find a long-range shot. And they did on Abai.
That's a disgusting shot if you think about it. Straight out into Abai, knocked down already. Shouldn't be too much of a problem to go for that revive, but Onik is facing so much pressure right now. There's so many teams coming in from 2 different areas as well. What are you going to do here to be able to get into that circle? Onik has lost. They need to take this fight to get into that circle. And they have played this elevation game to a T. The problem right now is that they cannot go outside. Their boxes out of the compound, and Lost are happy to accommodate them if they don't want to get out. Because eventually the zone will shift. They have to go out into the open eventually, and that's where Lost is looking. Just wait for them as well here. Waiting for the right time as well.
Yeah, Lost is actually at the advantage here because Team Onik is basically trapped. In that building, there's only one way in and one way out, unless you want to risk it by using the windows. And talking about windows, you can see that Rawan is actually blocking, forcing Onik to block the window, trapping them inside. Meanwhile, Dragons and Outside finally interacted. It looks like Dragon lost the fight. And Fluxo racking in kills, taking down Alpha 34.
The underdogs from Brazil not being able to hold on here. Lost is being very patient right now. This northern side fight is hot because the circle shift is good. But now this big rotation happening right now, and RQ is forcing this fight, taking down the killers that have been taking down the leaders of this game. RQ just completely collapsed, and RQ showing us why they're so comfortable on this map. Abai falls, Vitality decides to join in on this fight as well, but no problem. RQ still have many bodies to work with because another team is coming into this little area. Fluxo is in the middle of 3 different teams. This is not the best position to be with. The glue wall falling, their position knocked down. Bobs all alone. Gio cannot be picked up here, and Vitality, Fluxo in trouble as well. But Fluxo cannot hold on, and the same could be said about Core Memory as well. Eliminated already. This fight happening from all around the area, northern side and bottom side, as EVOS Divine look to try and bring down their Indonesian counterparts.
Yeah, bodies are dropping one by one. Teams are ousted one by one as well. Now we're looking at Onik eyeing on towards Evo that was fighting another team. RRQ has been eliminated on the 5th place. Meanwhile, Vitality takes down Team EVOS, kicking them out on 4th place. Now we are left Vitality, Lost and Onik, 2 Indonesia, 1 Brazil. This is the 2nd time Team Lost is in the top 3. And wow, Lost is showing their worth here. However, not much elimination in their bag in this game turnabout. So I'm not so sure will the points matter for them right now. But then again, they need the points to still be on top floor.
Vitality doesn't have a lot of place to work with. The circle is shifting right now, and they are the furthest away. The other two teams are saying, you know what, let's have a stalemate right now and try to keep this team at bay. But Vitality, they rally back. They have the high ground on top side of this building here, and this is perfect. Lost understanding this predicament, plays a little bit more close, not allowing them the position to shoot downwards, and they will jump forward, ignoring the other two teams. Glue wall set down as well, and suddenly they are the ones with the advantage in terms of the circle, in terms of position as well. Onik is falling. Adam in trouble, knocked down by Rigby. He's so quick with those shots.
And Lost still boxing in Team Onik. They cannot go out, and they're gonna continue doing so as the circle is slowly shifting towards command post. Waiting them inside is Team Vitality. Things are not looking good for Lost and Onik. And look at that here, preventing Lost from making a move. The only way for you to do this is to use the grappling gun, and that is a nice grab across the side, forcing Kyung to face on towards command post. Now Vitality pushing back. This is giving room for Onik Olympus a small bit of window to try and enter the new zone, but now Lost and Vitality, both of these teams is denying entry from Onik Olympus.
Onik took too long to leave that building. They were boxed inside for so long, and Lost knew exactly the outcome of that, which means a later rotation. And now Vitality waiting for the right timing, understanding where Lost's position is, the high ground on the top side of that of the area. They cannot go too far away because it gives them a clear view of their heads, and it might just be popped here. But Onik still holding strong as well. They're not moving quite yet. And a message to stand up. No, Vitality is just collapsing onto Lost right now. They rush forward. They shoot as well, but Lost ready to receive them. Instead of rushing forward, they move back. They had a lot of space to work with, so they put down all of their blue walls, but not before Koja does an opening pickoff onto one of the members of Lost. But still, 3 bodies to work with, lots of firepower, and instead hiding themselves inside of these tents.
Lost is looking to try to end the game with a mad kid fight. And now Zairu is attempting to go inside. However, Zairu is actually distracting Team Vitality, giving room for his member to actually enter. And Zairu goes down. This
no way, General!
The opportunity for Lost to go in. General is pushing in. They clear the blue one, but General goes down. Same goes to Rigby, and then it's Lost. Lost in control. Vitality will try to win this. They just need to find the last member from Team Onik. And he is here. Crowd goes down. And booyah for Team Vitality.
Honestly, it felt like such a desperation play by Lost. They knew they were running out of space and time, and they sent one player up to just catch the members of Vitality off guard. But unfortunately, it felt like they had a disconnect in communication there. Their teammates were not ready to collapse, not ready to trade off him after he rushed up forward here. That breakdown in communication actually costed them that booyah. And unfortunately, and for them as well, they died a little bit too soon compared to Onik, who was able to survive a bit longer due to the space as well. I have to say, Vitality, this is a great game for them in terms of rotations, in terms of positioning, and in terms of recovery as well.
2 booyahs in the bag here for Vitality in EWC 2025 thus far. Taking a very good position on command post, denying entry from Lost, denying entry from Onik Olympus, and took that counter attack away back towards Team Lost. General comes in, and they were backstabbed by Team Lost. However, they managed to control. Despite the blue walls all collapsing on top of the tents, Team Vitality managed to find a way to take down Team Lost. And once Lost is done, that is the sign that, yep, we're gonna get this booyah. All they need to do is just find Crime MKS. And well, surprisingly, Crime say, hello, I am here. Please try and take me. And there you go. Crime goes down and Vitality backs in the booyah. What a nice finisher from the Indonesian team.
You know what's really interesting? The fact of the matter is, I mean, we had a lot of expectations for Buram United. It's 2 maps in a row that this team has already been eliminated fairly early. Could it be day 1 jitters is the question. Could it be, you know, a breakdown in communication, or could it be the execution was just not quite there? They were trying to take this almost very, very high-risk fights, trying to go up those high grounds, trying to challenge R7 in situations where R7 had the most in terms of advantage. They were moving in a 2-2 formation in many of these last 2 maps as well. well, they always have two players not nearly the other two members running for their lives. But in this situation, they need to realize that many teams have started to chase. So in this situation, they really need to rethink how exactly they want to do these executions, how exactly the rotations are going to be happening, and most importantly, they need to really figure out how exactly or how their risk is going to be happening when you go into this big fights. Regardless, after this, we're gonna be going to an interview, but for now, it's gonna be looking at the highlights, where I have to say that Vitality started off the game very, very strong.
Yeah, they did this time around. Finally, they've proven that Indonesia is really strong on Kalahari. And let's see, what will the representative Vitality say? We are gonna go to Carol for some interview with, again, Vitality.
Wow, what amazing day we are watching here at the AWC 2025. So much fire from Free Fire match so far. And of course, we gotta talk with the Lows, the champions for Free Fire World Series Brazil. And I'm here with Rigby, the rusher for the team. Rigby, congratulations on the matches that you guys have played so far. And of course, you have been showing such a beautiful and great dominance. And I would like to know, how does it feel to be showing such an amazing performance here at AWC 2025. Parabéns pela performance de vocês até agora. A gente sabe que é um campeonato de alto nível e eu quero saber como é que vocês estão se sentindo até agora com a performance de vocês. Já fizeram um buia, tem um terceiro lugar aí também, um top 3. Como é que tá sendo até agora a experiência?
Bom, no começo a gente acabou afundando, né? No começo ele deu uma entregada, mas a gente conseguiu resetar e recuperamos muito bem. E é isso, é melhorar, no final a gente continuar a pegar o top 1 ali, e é isso.
Okay, so in the very beginning, for sure, we did some mistakes, but we talked with our coach, with the full team, and we reset our mind, we set a new mindset, and we came back strong. We came back for the Buyas. Right now, we got just a top 3, but we will come back for more, and for sure, we are going to take the trophy home. And for us to finish our interview, I would like to know the expectation for the rest of the day, because you just got a top 3 in this last match. I know it's been hard. The other teams are really aggressive, but I would like to know the expectations. Quero saber quais são as expectativas de vocês para o resto dos dias, mesmo que as partidas sejam um pouco difíceis, como é que vocês vão se preparar e vão chegar para o resto do dia?
A preparação é sempre pegar o top 3 ali das partidas, com kill ou sem, manter a regularidade, e é isso. É o quê? Esqueci. Alguma coisa. Qual que é a pergunta, né? Continuar amassando, manter ali no top 3 ali das quedas e continuar amassando, só isso mesmo.
For sure, we are going to try to keep inside of the top 3 because we still want to advance to the knockout, to another phase. For sure, we are going to go with as much points that we need, and we're going to get that on point rush. And for now, we are just focused on today's games, and we will get better for tomorrow as well. And that's it. We have finished one more match, and right now we are going to have a quick break, and we will come back with more action here at Free Fire at AWC 2025.
Reach your impossible, Lenovo Legion.
Hey everyone!
Welcome to day 2 of Free Fire at the Esports World Cup 2025. I'm Yunso. It's so hot out here. But before we dive into our today's Free Fire actions, I'm going outside to explore the other esports arena around the boulevard to see what is going on across the tournament. First up, we are at the STC Esports Arena, where League of Legends is in the full swing. And yes, the powerhouse teams like T1 is in the mix. This is going to be an epic showdown! Yay! And right here, the Amazon Esports Arena, home of Dota 2. Fun fact, Dota 2 is known for some of the biggest prize pool in esports, and it's still keeping that legacy alive right here at the EWC 2025. Next up, SNB Esports Arena, where the crowd will be locked into the actions of Mobile Legends Bang Bang. The hype here will be real. And finally, we are back at my home turf, the Kidia Esports Arena, where Free Fire is kicking off its second day. The club championship is in full motions, and there's plenty of excitement ahead. I'm Yoso, and that is your update of Esports World Cup 2025. Let's see how our day 2 gets kicked off. Let's go!
We're so lucky, guys. I think we got the coolest looking stage.
I think we're the only ones that has like an ever-changing, elevated, and also like LEDs that show a countdown on the stage itself.
Yeah, I mean, and just imagine having everyone in there and then seeing that. I felt that especially when the first time we came in, and it was something else. So I would agree with you. That is quite different and very good for Free Fire to be there.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I'm really happy to be here. I'm happy to be able to see this like on live. I mean, face to face, you know. So I love it, and I agree with you. I think that's the best arena.
Obviously the best for the best, right? You guys know what's up. Now, speaking of the best, we are still here with some of the best teams here in the world of Free Fire, and we are getting ready for our next matchup, right? Kalahari just concluded. Vitality, they were the ones to get the booyah there, and it was because of a cascading number of events that really set that victory into motion, because there was one moment, and I think we all agreed here, if that moment didn't work out, they would have actually been eliminated and in third place, and that was Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, if Onik Olympus just joined in again with loss to take down Team Vitality, then they could have been out of there. So that was just something that, well, as we agreed, Onik style. So I hopefully they can pull away from that.
I suppose, but then I'm going to play devil's advocate here, because if you're in Onik's mind, you're thinking, okay, we help LOS shoot down Vitality, but we're on the second floor and the ring is already moving and LOS is on the outside, so they get first rotation no matter what. We end up almost guaranteeing ourselves to be in second place to begin with, right? So I think they were thinking for the long term of, we need to secure a booyah, and if we're able to do it against LOS, we have better odds against them compared to Vitality.
Yeah, but the thing is, Vitality probably had the best position ultimately, right? So this was when the circle was still moving. They started running. None of them got picked up. They grappled to the roof. It almost feels like LOS and Onik, they didn't expect that move. They probably thought that they were just going to go for a full-on sprint, you know, to close the gap. But as soon as they got onto the roof, they were safe, basically.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Kalahari really has. The hook gun, the utilization of the hook gun, quite pristine, especially on Team Vitality side. But for the other teams, like they don't use that much. So I guess Team Vitality carrying over, like how we know Indonesians are playing Kalahari. So I guess it's really expected for them.
Well, I mean, you mentioned it already, the cascading effect. We saw the top 5 actually looking a little awkward, right? Fluxo jumping in between both Vitality and as well as EVOS, and then they collapse, and then EVOS collapse. All of their loot and all of their coins ended up giving just enough for them to use their pockmark to get the launcher in the first place to get them on the roof.
So, because of a turn of events, a miraculous turn of events, it works out in Vitality's favor. But we'll have to see if that can continue, because, again, we're rotating to a new map, folks. Alpine. Now, how is Alpine going to play a role in this upcoming matchup? Who are the top teams that really should, in theory, take the points?
Well, Alpine is something that Real United really has in the bag most of the time, but it's really tough to call, especially as the first one, the team being eliminated earlier.
Yeah. All right, Carlos. Looks like, folks, our casters are ready to go, and the match is ready to go. We're going to be jumping into Alpine in just a second for match number 4. Throwing it over to our wonderful casters, and let's see who nabs this next booyah.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, survivors of all ages, you know what it is. You're back here with the Mustachio and Husky as we kick game 3 of It's Gonna Be Alpine time. And of course, the bigger question is gonna be who has got the ice in their veins. Will we continue to see Dragons Esports climb up to the top? They had a fantastic start here today, Husky, but I haven't seen a lot from them after that.
Yeah, not just Dragon, R7 as well.
Yeah.
Movie star R7. You say Dragon Esports has ice in their vein. We're looking at stone cold killers from this region, from this team of 4. And dropping into Alpine right off the bat, we're seeing some conflict. R7 against RRQ right on between Railroad and Carousel. That could lead to what the panelist has been repeating a few times, cascading effects down to Sunside and Basecamp where Onik are located. But aside from that, Dragon and Fluxo also might bump into each other.
Yeah, unlike Dragons, R7 has been pretty consistent with their points, and they're at the very top of the leaderboard right now for today's performance. A total of 44 points in their hands, but it looks like you just cursed the boys, Husky.
Wait, what happened? Did they get eliminated?
R7 just got one eliminated.
Look. We saw Vision System, right? Clearly, it is their own action that led to their undoing. The whole caster curse thing is just a way to scapegoat me. I'm not going to take this down lying anymore. I need to stand up for myself.
Well, it looks like Della is standing up for the rest of his squad. Good time turner pulled out there. He's just a pure distraction.
Oh!
And he gets a headshot out of nowhere as well. Della the Escalade going for yet another 18 deer. Can't get the job done with the mini Uzi, but it's just a matter of time. Steps by the window. A little bit of crossfire from the opposite side as well. And 18 deer with a big mistake as Della pulls away a 1v2 solo as he handles the boys from RRQ.
Catastrophic from RRQ. What was 18 deer thinking? Trying to coin flip a melee at the window? You had a way better chance with the weaponry that you have. RRQ now drop into a very uncomfortable spot. This is as bad as it can be. Ma'ao ducks into cover but loses majority of his health. R7 once more ice cold.
Yeah, 2 more survivors here for the side of RRQ. One mistake, and instead of putting a stop to the momentum of R7, they boost them up even further. This is absolutely insane of consistency out of R7, and Ma'al will lose his life as well. One final insurance policy out there who I believe is on a revival spree. We will see more of RRQ, but for the time being, my goodness me, R7 yet again, that consistency beaming through.
Yeah, this is uncanny, unexpected from R7. When we came into the Esports World Cup this year, we definitely have the impression that SCA regions and Brazil is going to dominate.
Yeah.
We were wondering how far the other regions, the ones that are less mentioned, are going to fare, but so far they have been putting up a heck of a show. Onik getting 2. We did see Lost taking on a couple members from the side of Hotshot, but Hotshot was able to get revivals in. So sure, points for Lost, but Hotshot are still in it to win it. Same for RRQ. And Anas pretty much all alone, the 1v2. As Hasu brings Sajid back, Anas stood no chance general with the 5th point.
Yep, Anas just stood no chance there whatsoever. Lost spotted an opportunity, went in for the instant flank, had the vehicle as well to very quickly cut off his rotation. And an extra point for the Lost boys, who were pretty lost in that first game, very quickly found their footing, and now at pretty much close to the top of the leaderboard with their brothers R7. LATAM and Brazil finding their footing here on day 2 to show Southeast Asia that it is not all about SEA. They've got a little bit of skin in the game as well. Now unlocking this air drop vitality, seems like Onik would be in shooting distance here to stop these boys. So a couple of extra glue walls laid out here. Smart play from the players, but of course R7 looking for more out of RRQ.
And if RRQ takes this fight, they have to make sure they win it. And it's not going to be in their favor. They don't have much time to gather resources. R7 have done their homework, showing up at dock, and that's exactly where RRQ are going to be. And Ma'al will be first contact. They know that he's going to be around. You see the Steffi ring being popped out very prematurely. I think Games King is just going to continue the chase, force them onto the low ground, funnel into the gun barrel of Della, and another goes down from RRQ.
And Fluxo eliminated so early on, we didn't even get to see that battle, but R7 continues to cook
look, the boys of RRQ. 18 deer. You fancy some deer meat out there? Unfortunate if you're vegan. Joker with the VSK could not get it done. CQC Ape wins it out with the M590. RRQ hoping for a tad bit of a comeback here. They've won out the first round of that bout. Della once again stepping back in to see if or not he can save the squad. RTS 50 in the hands of Games King as well. This is going to be deadly. Dudes turns it around. XF8. Della with the chrono. Saves himself for 1 extra second, but the Drogon out of meta. Can he save his skin? Abe out of there as quick as lightning, and that buys him more time.
Honestly, only Abai has enough resources to keep the team together, but at the very end, just outnumbered by R7. Games King, he's bleeding out, but there's plenty of time to bring him back into the game. RRQ still in it by the skin of the teeth. 18 deer who got revived earlier on by Abai now escapes to Railroad to continue this run for the team, but the Indonesians, at least from RRQ, are not doing well at all as we turn our attention to another Indonesian squad, Onik, as they face off against Dragons.
It may seem like R7 has a vendetta up against RRQ, but I can tell you, they are thanking the boys. 7 points so far on the leaderboard, all thanks to RRQ falling time and time again to them. But Onik up against Dragons. Dragons starting off the day hot and then simmered off real quickly right after that. I wonder where all of that extra firepower went, but up against Onik now, it looks like they don't want to make a pathway straight for a quick battle. They want to look for that circle. So they're going to make a long rotation in towards the next zone. They've got a rough idea heading straight towards Space Camp.
Yeah. And if you're Dragon Esports, you could consider going to Vantage or Ride, depending on how much resource you want to loot up before the next phase, but it's generally safe if you look at the map at this current at this point of time. They do have some veterans we've seen before. Yasser, for example, Remind, who have played for the Middle Eastern region for plenty of international tournaments. I think this current situation is good for most of the teams that coincidentally all predict the circle to end up on the northeastern side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, 8 years into the game, almost everybody knows how to read the circles of Free Fire already. You can see every single squad heading straight in towards base camp because that's exactly what the pathway is looking to be like, right? Circle's going to shrink a little bit more, still going to be centered around base camp, and then perhaps moving up a little bit towards Alpha 34. This is perfect positioning for these big squads, looking for that early ground to play a good defense.
What a good read. This is experience and homework really paying off. BRU, they are already in the thick of it. And this is a team that has, over time, started to slow down a little bit, play a lot more calculated, and only strike when the iron is hot. But now they are forced into a situation where they might have to start shooting early, and that could be a point of change for the team. With so many teams around that could punish them. Hotshot though made a full recovery. Now they're going to come in from the southern side of the map through Stadium and Rivermouth.
75 points. It's a lot compared to what they've been able to show us previously in those years on the global stage. This is very impressive from Hotshots, but we want to see them at least cross that 100-point mark. A little bit of a replay earlier on as well. You saw how R7 got the job done. A little bit off meta here with the Drogon, but it served them well. Speaking of off meta, Drogon, Jonah and Wasana holding on to those guns. We had big questions. What is Wasana going to do without his Tatsuya? I'm pretty curious as to how he's going to handle it as well. Thus far, past 2 games, they haven't been doing all that too good.
We even saw Wasana talking about how when he came into the team, everyone helped him get to his feet, to play like a team, to play like a family and then friends, and to get him up to speed. It took him almost more than 1 year to get their first trophy, to finally prove that he belongs in BRU, even though all of us said that he is the perfect fit, but they needed an achievement to cement that fact. Now EWC is going to be that redemption arc. Moshi takes contact as Alpha 34 now rushes into the building. The attic fight is going to be very, very congested as bodies start to hit the floor. Lin's first to go down. Wasana with the Trogon once more, just pumping out bullets right into the ribcage as Jonah finds Hisechi. BRU coming out with the big wins, with the big guns, with the big shots, and Alpha 34 is no more.
Yeah, Alpha 34 just rushed into their deaths. They should have gone in there for the full-on commitment. Instead, prematurely pulling up those glue walls, just the wrong idea. Drogon straight to those glue walls, instantly ripping them down. And obviously, Buriram taking full advantage of that situation. Free 4 points for the Thai dominant squad. But of course, this is their recovery game in Game 4 now. We want to see exactly how far they can move with that. R7, on the other hand, flirting with the blue right outside the circle, just tanking a little bit of damage as they go in for that long rotation round.
There's a chance that they run into RRQ again at dock. You see RRQ are making their rotation too. big scan with the binoculars from RQ. I believe 2 of them, and that's a big crowd that they just spotted out. RQ do not want to interact with anyone at this point of time. But for Onik, they might not have a choice. They see RQ and Ma'al, he's a sitting duck, lands on top of the tower, but what do you do at this point? Hotshot hears the gunshots, and they will be ready.
Yeah, this next circle, Buriram is actually betting big here that the circle is going to be looking for them instead of base camp. So Sunside is a very low probability. It still moves on towards base camp, but thankfully Buriram doesn't really need to travel all that too far. RRQ on the other hand, losing a bay at this point of time, that's going to be torturous. Looking for a vending machine in such a crowded base camp is going to be close to impossible.
It's pretty safe to call it for RRQ because this game has not gone that way at all. They don't have anything to work with, and in this current spot, minimal loots, minimal cover. Just gotta pray for just 1 or 2 extra placement points. But for R7, Carousel used to be safe, but with a rotation from BRU, there's a chance that because the circle didn't end on Sunside, they could pivot towards Carousel.
Yeah, I just expected them to just strut in towards Sunside. Instead, they wanted to go for the long rotation. Unfortunate for them, R7 had the exact same idea. Now Buriram gets to gatekeep R7. We'll catch up with that action in a little bit. The Lost Boys, on the other hand, very, very far away from base camp. As they move on in, they are at risk of being gate-capped by 2 squads, Vitality as well as Dragons, and this could just serve Dragons up really well. As Vitality puts in that hard work, they could look to steal away some crucial points off of loss.
Not only that, Core Memory and Evos are also around the corner, right? That could escalate into a 4-squad fight. But R7 and BRU, unfortunately, will have to duke it out in a very fair fight. Only one that can knock it out. As Haone in general fell to the feet. What happened? They broke their ankle somehow, but brought back up pretty quickly. As our attention turns back to R7, BRU, all gathering around the low ground behind the monster truck. Games King has a good angle, doesn't get the shot that he needs as BRU now splits up.
Yep, Wasana getting away from danger in the nick of time here. Cassie's electrotherapy already connected, already under the bridge like the trolls Buriram are sometimes. They run away from these boys, get high, everybody's tagged. Games King just so accurate with those shots.
And Hax, he has a chance to intercept it, but Jonah now makes the call to turn around. Games King finally catches Wasana. We see the Tatsuya dash in front, has a Steffi in hand as Hax gets knocked down by an ability from BRU. Della getting knocked down by Jonah, the turnaround of BRU again. When you strike at the Kings, you best not miss, and R7 unfortunately have missed the fatal blow. Joker will just be a past memory. BRU triumphs over them.
And you can thank Tiva for that, baby. Instantaneous pickup. Buriram with that instant recovery, turning the tables on R7, and this was that exact moment that we talked about that could happen. Buriram gatekeeping R7, but now because of that extended fight, they are on the back foot looking for the circle. They have to cross paths with 2 very strong Indonesian squads, RRQ as well as Onik, and RRQ actually has got the high ground advantage. Buriram in a lot of trouble unless they whip out a jump pad.
Not only that, RRQ are at their weakest moment. There isn't a world, a universe where RRQ could mess up the rotation of BRU, but aside from that, you remove them from the picture. This is as clear as it gets for BRU to run straight into base camp for that rotation, as Lost now takes on Hotshot Esports. Sajid and Anas getting knocked down very quickly. Red Tyrant and making it even hard to defend themselves. Unfortunately, there is just no backup plan. Action has to watch it out go down as his teammates perish one by one.
Yeah, Woodpecker backing away at the voice of Hotshot. And of course, you can hear the shots of the AWM off of the players of Lost as well. And unfortunately, for the side of Hotshots, they could not withstand all of that action. Dragons, they just kept their heads down low, not wanting to interfere in this engagement at all. They could have pulled off a swift backstab there, but that was a lost opportunity. And now the Lost Boys are about to make them pay. But Hanaral goes down first. Rigby, M590 circles around. Demox from the back. Can he get it with the SMG? Sifu is the one that gets it done. Rawan is the next player down on the ground. Lost did not expect this, and they are getting wiped by the most unsuspecting squad out there from EMEA.
The Dragons once more roar and soar into the skies. Now they get a safe spot. Onik did get wiped out by BRU off screen as BRU's warpath continues straight into the circle. That retired goes straight over to Narnia, hitting no one. Crucial ability on cooldown this late into the game. A124 in the hands of Koja. Vitality Booyah winners of the previous rounds, but the kill feed lights out once more, and it's all blue, but BRU are the ones that are winning.
Yeah, nobody gate-kept Buriram, and unfortunately, EVOS is the one that pays, and it wasn't even some CQCs. They were taking those long shots from afar, extra 2 points collected, and now that puts EVOS at risk. They cannot find the Booyah that easily. Core Memory up against EVOS, Buriram joining the fray as well, but they take the top of the roof. This is going to give them a little bit of an advantage, but also pulling in the attention from Vitality's grenade.
And BRU already has 15 eliminations under the belt. If there's a time to stop them, it is going to be now, or they will run away with the group stage. RRQ finally eliminated, but Zenzi starts it up. Cougar with the follow-up. 2 down with BRU. Wasana finally confirmed as Get High gets back up, intercepted by Fice MKS. Core Memory and Vitality have a singular mission, and it's to wipe out BRU, and they get the job done.
Oh, beautifully done here, and Sifu finding Koja from the back. Will Dragons be able to rip away their Booyah here at the expense of Vitality? They do have digs right up on top of the roof with the bird's eye view, but the glue wall melters all laid out already, and the circle favoring the EMEA squad as well. Dragons stand a strong chance, but unfortunately this is going to drag in all of the rest of the squads towards them as well.
Vitality caught in a conundrum. Which poison do you pick? Do you fight the Middle Eastern teams of Dragon Esports, or do you run straight into Core Memory? Because both of them will turn them into dust and into the past. Core Memory is their pick, and that costed them 2 bodies. Evos now joins the equation. AimGod takes out Diggs. Hotshot still has a survivor, but this is most likely going to be between Core Memory and Dragon Esports. 4 teams remain.
Unbelievable stuff here. Core Memory with the consistency, but Dragons just showing that they want to make it through to Point Rush. Yes, here down on the ground, Cougar's gonna make sure that he gets put out. But from up top, Recifu finding one great connection with jump, pulls out a glue wall to block himself off for an important pickup onto Remind. He doesn't have the Diva. A tad bit slow there. Thankfully, no grenades finding the players of Dragon on the roof.
There is a chance that EVOS messes this up, and in fact, even EVOS has to deal with the remnants of Hotshot. As Cougar rejoins the rest of his team in that ground floor circle, will move to the western side of this compound a little bit. A lot more buildings to work with. Great nice action in the back line. Ray still surviving, but now has to dip into the shadows. Hotshot out in 4th place, another top 4 finish for the Pakistanis.
Yeah, but that's good enough for Pakistan, man. I mean, getting in towards the top 4 after struggling a tad bit there. Good on them. We want to see more, but can Dragons do the impossible? Can they wrap up a solid Booyah here at Alpine? Core Memory, they've got the numbers. EVOS, on the other hand, just need to play the game of survival. Ray circling on towards Dragons. This might just be a potential distraction that Dragons go for, and unfortunately, Core Memory can take advantage of this.
This could also be slowly shaping up into one of those unexpected but very welcome storylines. The underdogs of this competition, Dragon Esports versus the underdogs of Thailand. Core Memory, one of their better performers. I would say one of their best performers so far in the group stage. Dragon are down 1 man, and that is something that Core Memory can work with, but as the siren sounds for the last time, Core Memory takes a shot in the back. Remind has all of them confirmed. Let's see if Dragon can close this out.
You hear those drums of liberation in the background, gearing us up for a solid Booyah. Who takes it? Thailand, or are we gonna see EMEA walk away with a solid Booyah? Ray's in trouble. The players surround him. M590, he's hanging on for his dear life, and will tag the blue. EMEA doesn't care. Seamox finds him, but that also sacrifices a little bit of their health, and I did not expect a revive to come out of nowhere, but now Cougar and squad wrapping on in, waiting for the circle to drag Dragons towards themselves.
This revive most likely would just be a distraction at most. Seafolk taking plenty of damage from Core Memory. But at least for Dragon Esports, there is an X Factor. Don finds Yasir, and that is the guy that just got brought back. They get vision. Remind can see it, but cannot fire. Down to a 3v4. Asimo now in contact! Big one! What a shot! But Zenzi instantly finds the trade, and Remind left all alone, and he cannot do it. Core Memory locks it in. First Booyah for the team.
Core Memory with the solid plays. But props to Dragon Esports, man. Out of nowhere, the underdogs getting it done. This was one of the hardest underdog circles we've seen so far.
We almost were about to witness the Group C takeover for day number 2, but thank goodness Vitality stepped up in the previous game, and then Core Memory. But it still does not take away the fact that Group C came in swinging. Dragons Esports, good round 1. Game 2 and Game 3 not the best, but Game 4 was another opportunity to show them that the Middle Eastern region are constantly evolving.
And Core Memory so close to that #1 spot already, putting in enough work, solid number of points as well. I believe 12 eliminations they walked away with in that matchup towards the very end, and that's the kind of performance you want to be chugging out in these lobbies. You don't need to aim for the skies all the time. You just want to have more than 10 eliminations, get to that final circle, and you're pretty much good enough to get your squad into point rush. That was a valiant effort turned into a solid booyah.
And at the end of the day, it depends on the perspective of the players. How do you want to finish the knockout stage? Do you want to finish in the lead and make a statement piece right off the bat? Or do you just want to do the bare minimum, make it through to point rush, and then start showing all your cards? And I think in this case, teams like Hotshot and Dragon Esports are looking at the latter, but teams like BRU, Core Memory, they're looking to instantly tell the world that they are here to take the trophy away. And if you don't step up, you will not stand a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, this was a shocker for everyone, no doubt whatsoever. But Lost kind of losing that opportunity a tad bit late. But of course, we've got Yunso out there with an interview set up for us. Let's see exactly who she's got with her.
All right then, thank you AJ and Husky. And here's our little interview of our Kuga here. สวัสดีค่ะ Kuga โอเคค่ะเป็นยังไงบ้างอะ
อะไรนะครับ
เป็นยังไงบ้าง
ก็ เป็นยังไงบ้างครับ ดีใจครับที่เปิดบุย่าแรกได้ ก็โฟกัสเข้ารอบชิงครับ
So we are pretty happy and excited that finally we be able to get the first booyah, and from now on we're gonna focusing on getting to the championship.
Oh, that's really good to hear. So our second questions. Okay, Cougar, so how do you feel about when your team we are having a change of a player named Ston? How do you feel about him? Does it make a huge difference in our game?
ก็ในทีมมีเปลี่ยนเพลเยอร์มา1คนใช่ไหมฮะคิดว่าผู้เล่นที่เข้ามาใหม่เนี่ยฮะมีผลต่อรูปแบบการเล่นหรือว่ามีผลต่อผลลัพธ์ในการเล่นแต่ละรอบไหมครับ
มีครับก็เป็นอินเกมครับพี่ดนก็มีผลเยอะมากเลยครับคอยสั่งพวกผม
Yep, actually there's quite a huge effect from the new player that just joined our team. He's like kind of like our new IGL and like command, keep giving us the order, like what do we have to do if there is an urgent situation happen during the games.
That's really good to hear because I also find that there's a different thing about core memory that is done and they make a huge difference. So good luck in your next game, Cougar. Fighting, Susuna. And now let's throw to our break. But first, we will give you a final blow.
Triple kill. Triple kill. Triple kill. Quadra. Double kill. Triple kill.
Everybody, it's Yunsu. Hello everybody, all of my survivors in Free Fire. As you guys know, in Boulevard we have so many fun activities, having good foods to enjoy. All of the best thing in this life in esports is waiting for all of you. But today I'm right here at this very futuristic place, beautiful place. How do I call it? Aramco Sim Arena. Right next to me is a simulator racing gaming I really want to try it, but I'm wearing a dress, but who cares anyway, right? So I'm gonna first try my... Alright, headphone please. Oh. Alright, gonna start my game now.
Nice, thank you. Kalma.
7 orang. Woi, kita
kanan kiri.
Kanan aja ke sini. Ini gas yang dekat.
Sekarat banget. Supernya sekarat, kenok supernya.
Ini satu orang lagi keluar. Gas aja, nah satu lagi.
Woi, kalem boys.
Biarin.
Boy, let's go boy. Ada pace.
Aman. Harus suntik.
Iya, santai.
Itu, lospet orang tuh.
Ingat guys.
Garot.
Gua nggak ada kepal.
Kanan dapat. Kanan 2, kiri 1.
Iya.
Kananin enggak sih?
Komijon dulu, santai.
Gua
ada kepal gua.
Ada pace.
Sekarang.
Nice.
Gas.
Shoot limiter dia. Satu lagi dah. Shoot limiter dia aja.
Bisa pegang gua aja.
Dah, bisa pegang.
Bisa coba pegang.
Bisa dua-duanya bisa.
Lu pegang aja. Iya, gua pegang.
Cucuin guys.
Sini. Oh, kita. Gua ada kepala. Ayo, kepala. Sini, let go.
Bukan. Bareng, ingat. Bareng, let's go. Satu hit.
Clear. Kalian lagi pada ngapain sih?
Memory have created their first memory here at EWC, grabbing their first booyah on Alpine of all maps, and of course they're going to be feeling fantastic about that booyah. Back to the panel, our panelists, pretty surprised actually, because it was a pretty tense showdown during that final circle. We had 3 teams, right? We had EVOS with their lone player, we had Core Memory, who are basically the raid bosses, and then we had Dragons. I think a lot of people were cheering for Dragons to win that, but Core Memory, ultimately, they just played better.
Yeah, and Core Memory, they are really good at fights. I mean, they are mechanically good, but I think they weren't just not that adapted. I don't know. I don't feel that, because yesterday they played, I mean, it wasn't like a very good game, but now they can grab like the booyah, which is really cool. But I think it's good to add about Buriram, which is a team that we usually see like getting booyahs and eliminations, and right now, I don't know, I feel that they are kind of missed. I don't know what's going on, but they kind of disappeared after, I don't know, the second match maybe?
Yeah, I do agree. It seems like Bermuda is slowing down, but speaking of disappearance, like from the start of that match of Alpine, we had 3 teams who were in the top. R7 lost as well as Fluxo, but they disappeared a little bit too early. So.
maybe the map was a bit too cold, you know?
Yeah, this was kind of sad. I think it was something personal with us, with our Brazilian teams, and I'm pretty sad too for like Alpha 34, because they're not clocking. They can play. I don't know what's going on, and I think in this situation they won't pass to the point rush. So it's pretty sad, but we still have like Los and Fluxo, and I think this was just an untypically match, and they can be like more stronger right now to the next one.
Well, we do still have a couple opportunities left. We've played 4 games today, meaning we've still got 2 more to go. And Nexterra is our next map. Now, Raja, typically, in a typical day, how would you rate the Brazilian teams on Nexterra? Is this a map that the region is quite comfortable playing?
Fluxo is really good at Nexterra. It's like one of the best maps for them to play. So I'm feeling really confident about it. And I think Los can do a great job, because they are doing a great job in the whole broadcast today. In my opinion, it's one of the best teams for today. Like, they are being really consistent, and I mean, they have a really good synergy, and they have like they have a Rigby, which is the top 3 rusher in Brazil, and that's so important because we need that, and we know how Asian teams are good, so we need someone that bring confidence to the team, and I think Rigby can do that job really well.
Statsman Neptune, pull up the stats of Fluxo. What are we expecting for them from Neptune? From Nexterra.
For Nexterra, currently out of the 6 teams that have played here from their group, so they are tied with Core Memory in this specific map from yesterday. But I guess with the momentum that Core Memory has, they can easily overshadow Flaxo at this point unless they really come for revenge. Like being taken out a little bit early, that's something that the Brazilians really want to get away from.
And maybe they can speed things up a little bit, right? We're down to our last 2 games, and I think if you realize what position you are in on the leaderboard, you kind of want to make these last 2 rounds count so you feel comfortable knowing that, okay, we are not at risk of dipping below top 12 because, folks, top 12 is the first goal here for the knockout stage. If you don't make top 12, you're out of the competition.
Yeah, and I have something to add about Fluxo. Yesterday they played with like 3 rushers, 3 rush players, and today probably they will do the same because the landing drop where they usually got in Nexterra, it's like a place where like Asians likes to play too. So I don't know how to explain for you guys, but I think they will play Nexterra with like 3 rush players, and they will put procs to join into this match.
Yeah, that does make sense because if they played already, Prox is already introduced yesterday. So I guess with the rush build that Fluxo has, they can easily start it off on that hot drop and then play slow once again. So compared to what we seen yesterday, first 2 match always slow for Fluxo. So like hyping it up, like moving a little bit faster, and well, let's admit it. Last 2 games, it's clutch time.
Last 2 games is clutch time, but is it clutch time for any other teams? Because we kind of did focus on Fluxo here. Any Asian teams that are really going to want to play well on Nexterra here?
Yeah, I mean, for Southeast Asia, I think there's a lot more. Team Vitality grabbed a Booyah from yesterday in this map, so I guess they can do a repeat, but it's still a tough call. Group C has been introduced, and we've seen a lot of hot teams.
I'm kind of missing Vitality, but I know that they played good. I think I can't remember the number of the match, but I mean I think they went so much better yesterday. I don't know why I feel that, but maybe it's because this group is, Group C, it's like stronger, so maybe they are not adapted to it, you know?
That, and maybe the fact that Group C probably studied Group B, right? I think this was something that we talked about earlier in the broadcast. Being Group B, you have that disadvantage of, we can research this team before we play them tomorrow. So Group C having that slight advantage makes it a little bit difficult. We are getting ready for our next matchup, folks. But before that, though, we actually have our SMB head-to-head. So let's head on over to the stage and see what the head-to-head is all about.
What's up, everybody? The SMB head-to-head. Hey, whoa. No,
Sorry about that.
You don't do that. You don't do that here. We do not get these smudges because these teams are working far too hard. And maybe this time around they can change it up here. My name's Getting Q. This is Tash Bunny. We're here at the stage. Tash Bunny, I heard that you've got a team that you're interested in for this head-to-head.
Oh, yes. Ever since Raja was completely glazing them on the desk, Lost has completely stolen my heart. They are a team that's really surprised me today with not only just those insane booyahs, those insane frags, but also they have the General.
The General, of course. He's looking to lead this team to the next generation of Free Fire. But for me, I'm a little more interested in a team who has a fan base from Vitality, a team and all their members. Give it up in no prize. Give me some noise. They're here to show that they are the best. An Indonesian team picked up by a great organization, and now it's the second half of the day. We saw map 1, we saw map 2, but it's time to go on over to map number 5. We'll throw it over to our casters.
Thank you very much to Gideon, Tash, and the rest of the panel, Raja, Neptune, Danali. It's Husky and Mustache AJ back once more. When we talk about vitality, the definition is the endurance to finish a run. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, but for vitality, it's the final 2 laps for the knockout stage run. Let's hop into Nexterra for round number 5.
And the marathon for vitality has been pretty decent so far. They've got a 30% top 3 rate, and that's pretty fair if you want to make sure that you're in the top 12, if you're not just aiming for the number 1 spot. Overall, they've got the 3rd spot pretty much guaranteed to make it through to Point Rush. But of course, another Indonesian squad is Onik. They haven't been showing up so far. They are the champions of Southeast Asia, one of the first to make this miracle of Champion Rush look so effective out there. We want to see more from them.
So far, it has been a nightmare relived by Onik. Last year, they came into EWC, their debut, and they completely dropped the ball. But right now, still early to say, I'm going to defend these boys a little bit. It's their day 1. We'll see what they can bring us, right? They dropped at Twin Bridge and Mortar Ruins, no contention. I'm surprised that Fluxo decided to shift away from Intellect Center, because 2 years ago, it was Intellect Center that got 3 out of the 4 players a FFWS Global Championship in 2023.
And an early shoot down here by the players of EVOS. Hacks and Games King down on the ground. Dela! He did manage to go in here for a 1v2 clutch earlier on, but that was thanks to the XM8 now stepping outside of his side turner. Della serves it up hot as well. Headshot to Ray, down on the ground, and Della now buys the squad a tad bit more time. For that revival, Joker is still in here. R7 is not down and out just yet.
You got to give him credits for the utilization of the time turner. Right now, it lasts longer. It is more durable. You see the footwork, the bob and weave in and out to get the knock onto Ray, but unfortunately for him, it was a 2v1. EVOS getting 3 head start points just like that. R7 still in it. He's still very early on, but it's more like where do you pick, right? The place that they drop with the revive are all occupied. Plaza Ria by EVOS, Deca Square by Hotshot. The revive continue to come true, but as we talk about EVOS, Joker might make contact with Aim God.
Yeah, but the revival was already there, but now lost. Preying on the players of Fluxo. One after the other, they shut them down, and
No way.
one final survivor. Question on none of them at all. Down in the dumps, and lost showing who's boss very early on here at Nexterra.
Bested them bested them locally, and now besting them on the world stage. This is a catastrophe for Fluxo. They will have time to think about it, because R7 Joker just found Aim God isolated on top of the roof. R7 clocks in their first point of this round.
Absolutely phenomenal here for R7 when it comes to the recovery play. Joker goes down, but he's already bought that lifeline for the rest of his team members. Games King now just chilling by a vending machine in case things do go south for the squad once again. But I don't think he's going to take on a full-on fight with the rest of the EVOS squad, who have to thank R7 for 4 free points. Now Hasu running out in the open. Hotshots, let's talk about them now, because Hotshots, this has been one of their most phenomenal appearance on the world stage. Pakistan might just make it through to the finals this time round.
All they need to do is to play the last 2 rounds, make it to top 3, top 4 if they can.
Yeah.
But the chances are slightly dwindling a little bit. Anas not able to get any collection, and he goes down. Hotshot left on the last legs, and unfortunately that's going to be Sajid RRQ hunting him down. This could be that terminus for Hotshot. This could be where they fall short once more.
Some back and forth off screen here between Dragons and Onik. Onik losing 3 players already. Dragon, it's a 1v1 between Onik and Dragon. We need to check that out. Seamox down on the ground. And Dragons eliminated by Onik Esports off screen. A tad bit unfortunate for the EMEA squad, but we were talking about how Onik is lingering at the bottom of the leaderboard for performance today, and that is not a good spot for them to be. As they try to scratch and claw their way out of there, let's see if or not Alpha will be able to show us a tad bit of performance going up against RRQ.
And Alpha,
the M590 delivered.
And Alpha needs to deliver a couple points. They are in a very precarious position on the leaderboard. RRQ not only having to do with Alpha, they try to spread up, but Alpha has all the exits covered. 2 points for them.
Beautifully done. As Onik now slowly but surely revives their players one after the other. Alpha putting RRQ on the back foot, but that's not going to be a total shutdown just yet. 2 teams eliminated. Surprisingly, Fluke saw one of them, but an early exit means nothing to a team that has picked up more than 100 points so far on the overall leaderboard from 2 days' performance. That should be enough to tip them over into point rush. But of course, we want to see more from the 2-time champions.
I personally think 120 is more than enough. It won't give you first place, but it will most likely guarantee you point rush unless the competition continues to deliver unexpected results, which we have seen over time, and it's still delivering. Multiple bodies dropped, multiple lives resurrected on that feed. Once more, Vitality now staring across the building. Core Memory sitting on that 2nd and 3rd floor.
Especially with the current meta where those revives are so much more possible with the coin machines littered all around the battlefield. You've got the T-Bar combination in there as well for those instant pickups. And you just have so much of viability to go in for that huge reset. So we've seen some teams get massive points, and Nexterra is one of those maps where you can really farm those elimination points. Thus far, EVOS as well as Lost have been onto it. 7 eliminations each as we spot out Della. What a player, man. This guy could just be the clutch god of this season.
Yeah, I think he has a very good chance of once more staking his name. I mean, we've seen him plenty of times. You know, Della, or Soy Della as you know him, regardless. Coming into this as well, I think if you are a team like Vitality or Core Memory, you are also looking to make a statement piece. We just saw someone from Hotshot getting knocked down, but Hotshot's survival run still continues. Not sure how good it's going to look though. BRU crossing paths with them, and Hasu is going to brush shoulders with Vitality once more.
Yeah, the circle definitely going to move towards the area of Farmtopia, Decker Square. And once again, great read by these pro players, moving in a tad bit earlier. But Buriram kind of playing it slow as usual, just kind of laying low on the outskirts here at Turbine. And of course, quick highlight as well, Rasya, nobody has been able to rip away the #1 spot from this wonder kid, 16 years old, and absolutely solid with the way he plays his games out there.
He's definitely one of a kind. Every now and then we will get a prodigy, regardless of whatever region we're looking at. But these kids, these up-and-coming stars, they come in with such a big bang that it almost feels like a miracle every now and then. It's a seasonal thing. As Oscar breaks the glue wall, 18 Deer gets a run down, the 5th point for AF.
Yeah, valiant dash indeed. And of course, the sacrificial lamb right in front of him, Alpha 34. But of course, very easy to get that done when your opponent's just one guy and you've got the rest of your squad backing you up. Oscar is just a double-edged sword, but of course we saw it on day #1, that mad bum rush into Factory where 4 players got knocked down to the ground. That was phenomenal. I want to see one more of that play from Oscar today, man.
Plenty of Oscars in this lobby, that is for sure. Hotshot really coming down to just pure survival instincts, the will to fight on, because they have not been able to get anything done. It's not of their own actions, it's just the unfortunate circumstances, the reality that they kept running into different teams.
Oh, beautiful.
And now rest onto the shoulders of Hasu. Does he take a gamble on this point? Seems like he will opt for the safer route. Museum is the next closest point with a vending machine.
It's a very interesting plan here by Hasu. He could have stuck the full squad revival here with that revival platform, but instead is choosing to pick up those coins and, like you said, head on over to Museum, find a vending machine to bring his squad back in here. We'll check in with Hotshots in a little bit. For the time being though, this might just turn out to be utter chaos. Buriram, EVOS, Core Memory, all in a tight little spot, waiting for that next circle to approach them at Plazaria.
And not only that, off-screen Farmtopia was occupied by Onik. They scanned out Vitality and they took the portal gold too. So that fight might break out between these two Indonesian rivals. Another revive spree for Hotshot. So they are going to be back in the game, but time is going to start ticking pretty fast. Nadonai and Haone taking down the members of Alpha 34, a quad, and a 5th for Haone. He's just way too good. basically locked in, and LOS lost 10 eliminations.
Oh, only with 5 eliminations so far. SVD in hand, unstoppable with that rate of fire and damage. Red B rocking the same gun as well. They're going to be pretty deadly from those long-range shots. You definitely need those in Nexterra because you've got a lot of these compounds where teams are going to be hiding away at, only peeking from that window, and you want to be ready to take those accurate shots straight to the head. So we know R7 is ready for that final circle play this time round. They've got the combinations of that M590 as well. Of course, once again, highlight to not one but 2 players from EWOS Esports, both Rasya and Ray dominating with the damage.
And this is going to be crunch time. And look at Hotshot's position once more, completely separated. Full revive finally completed. But they are going to come in basically naked with minimum to work with. So let's see if that willpower is going to get them through. Again, top 4 is the best position just for placement itself, but with where Saji dropped, he's probably going to be fed instantly. Rasya picks up a freebie for himself, but it's nothing much that Hotshot can do.
Yeah, interesting move here by Hotshots. First of all, Hasu succeeds with the full squad revival off of the outer circle revival at Museum. 3 players back in here, and instead of dropping into one spot, which will be very dangerous, they have now spread out onto the battlefield looking for the placement points for the win here. I think Pakistan has got the right strategy. They just need to inch on forward game after game, not looking for the booyah. This is a smart play for Hotshots.
And this is the best course of action. Hasu even finding a vehicle to facilitate that rotation. He has finally escaped the blue just in time before the blue really start to do some serious long-term damage. Polygo being dropped down by R7. This could be a big jump. They're going to take it right now on 3 of them. The transport will be completed on top of the roof. Vitality on one side and Onik on the other.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see some teams not forgetting the fact that the portal goal still exists. Yeah, a tad bit expensive, but the coin machines are littered everywhere on the battlefield. R7 making good use of that. A clear rotation round, finding the roof, and now they are in prime position to play this next circle. But of course, when it shrinks a little bit more though, R7 is going to have a very, very big advantage here. So those are once again big brain plays from them. But up against 2 Indonesian squads, Onik and Vitality, this is going to be difficult.
Vitality just spotted a Hasu. So he's going to be taken down. If you're action right now, I think Hasu needs to make the call action. Just stay still. Yeah. Don't even let them hear you breathe. It's you and Anas at this point. There's no more shot for any revival at this point, aside from feeding free points to the opponents. But thankfully, you have RQ who just joined Plaza Ria. Yeah. And this could be a distraction that Hotshot can utilize to get deeper into the run.
Absolutely. And that is the right assessment because Hotshots at this point of time, if they get eliminated, they only walk away with 1 placement point. They gotta wait for a few other squads to drop out there first. Lost is helping them out by shutting down player after player from Alpha 34. The boys still hanging on for their dear lives. Next circle. Does R7 get the read accurately here? Or does Buriram, Core Memory, and EWOS find the next circle? Neither one, as RRQ is the one that's flavored in a beautiful spot for the circle as well. You've got a little bit of a half and half with a decent compound to work with at Plaza Ria as well.
I would like to believe that RQ also scanned out the northern side because that Dinoculus took a scan, pinged out 12 players. But the baton is going to be passed from action to Anas, who is the closest person to the circle at Plaza Ria. Another big scan. I think this one most likely is going to be by RQ, by Lost, because Anas was caught in the radar. 5 members being pinged instead of 4, and Lost has 13 eliminations.
I can't believe Anas is still shooting at players at this point of time because Hotshots really just needs to stay calm and not show up on the map at all. Play those placement points because we thought Alpha was about to get taken down, but they're hanging on for their dear lives here. R7 is still alive and kicking on the side of Alpha 34. And he finds action on top of everything else as well. Big play by Alpha, big play by R7.
Nothing much that he can do as Alpha 34 getting wiped out. It's all down to Anas. First to go down in the round, but now last to stand. Rasya finds another knock. This one is a big hit onto Moshi. Lost stepping in again. BRU tasting the wrath of 2 different regions in a single go. R7 against Onik. The glue wall will not stand for long. R7 starting to bombard the compound.
Well, fantastic glue wall erected here by Onik, just bouncing off all of those grenades. R7 doesn't get to nick away a couple of extra lives here, and now they're out in the open, battling up against the circle. But EWOS out of the window, straight into the firing squad of Lost. Nando 9 taking good advantage with their high ground action. position. Hot shot out in 9. Not enough placement points for them, but we'll have to see what they do in game number 6. In the meantime, EVOS desperately trying to break down the defenses they set up to go after Buriram.
And EVOS needs to take down Wasana. They need to eliminate this third party, an X factor that could turn it all around on his heels. Ray desperately trying to bring around the Rosie. Vitality joins the fight, and EVOS, they didn't want this to happen, but Vitality do not care. Wasana finds a second chance as those glue wall continues to be put up, but the blue zone is closing in. Vitality needs to break through.
Unbelievable stuff from Buriram. Wasana hanging on for his dear life, but unfortunately for him, it will come to an end as well. Ray finding him with the M590. R7 now outside the circle, but the zone moves straight towards them. This is going to be a huge advantage. They need to play with their glue walls well. Core Memory going to be keeping Vitality a tad bit busy now.
And Vitality have a very good shot of stopping a back-to-back for Core Memory and getting a second booyah for themselves in this knockout stage. Core Memory really stuck on the second floor. They need to jump off the ledge. The time turner will only buy so much time as Lost gets eliminated off screen. Core Memory now takes the fight to Vitality. Cougar with the Oscar dash finally makes it to the backline, turns around, but Koja is ready to accept the challenge. The interception for Vitality works out. Core Memory still allowed, but R7 now joins.
Yeah, R7 not waiting for Vitality to take the fight up against them. Gamesky dealing with the damage that the blue brings to the table, going in for the eliminations. Dawn desperately trying to find his recovery. R7 not giving them room at all. Food really low on their HP, has the Trogon in hand. More importantly, needs to top up his health. The circle gets the rest of the job done. Jump, unfortunately, is not going to be able to save his buddy. Has got that Superman in hand, and now Core Memory finds a little bit of space to recover.
What a rotation. The launch pad. Games King survives, but Joker gets picked up by Noki. The only Malaysian representative and the first ever Malaysian export. He gets traded back. Games King is not going to let that slide, but Onik, they're still holding up pretty well with a compound to work with. Jump lays down the launch pad. Don is healing himself up, but maybe Jump needs to take this leap of faith. And Abai, he sees him, shoots him down right in the midair, and there's nothing left for Core Memory.
Yeah, just shooting them out of the skies. RRQ, sharpshooters indeed. Now 2 Indonesians stacking above each other, looking to take the heads of R7. Question is, will the Mexicans be able to oust whatever the Indonesians bring to the table? They're going to allow them to do a little bit of damage to each other first before interfering in this fight. Either way, R7 will have to move first when that circle starts to close in 15 seconds.
They will have to make the first move, just like you said. Proactiveness. Even if they don't want to, it will be forced through circumstances. Final siren blast. The Indonesians brace themselves for a final confrontation. It seems like Onik's not gonna wait. They take the fight straight to RRQ. Absolute madness, but RRQ able to hang on just by a little bit. Onik not able to finish the job, but Adam is not going to relent. They pursue RRQ. Joker finds Scribe. R7, they have a dang good chance of cleaning up the scraps. The Indonesians infighting might have just given this round away. And R7 against RRQ.
Like shooting fish in a barrel, R7 taking advantage of the infighting between the Indonesians. And now Abe in a 1v3. How can he clutch this out? He's got the right gun. He's got the M590. Going up against a Trogon and an M590 in the hands of Games King and Della. But R7 playing it smart, going in for the flank around, but one great big mistake. Can he continue in a 2v1? Abe only finds a knock, and R7 delivers their first booyah of the day.
And once more, a region that is very, very less mentioned puts themselves on the docket. R7 joins the list of teams that have gotten a booyah. And that is going to bring some attention not just to themselves but to the entirety of Group C. RRQ and Onik, they had a shot, but Onik got impatient. They took the fight to RRQ, they rolled the dice, but unfortunately it was not a perfect 20. It was a horrendous number 1 roll, and RRQ Abai left to pick up the pieces. The Wonder Kid can only do so much for Indonesia.
Yeah, a couple of teams faltering a tad bit too early, and these are big names. Fluxo out with nothing in that round. Buriram only managed to pick up 4 points. This was a big game, and Movistar R7 proving exactly who the stars are out there. Mexico trying to make a name for themselves here, and they sure as hell are doing a good job at it.
I just gotta say, compared to 2024, compared to this 1 year ago, we already have a lot more unique teams getting a booyah, and that's just on the second day. really speaks volumes of how this esports, this title has evolved over the years. The meta, the format changes. Movie star R7 once more. We said that they needed to make the first move.
Yes.
By circumstance alone, they are at a disadvantage. But the fate smiled upon them. Patience rewards those who wait. It's a virtue for movie star R7.
Hey, Movistar R7 has most definitely been on the trajectory upwards. Last year in their local league, they got the 7th spot. This time, #1 within their own region. And of course, to qualify for this competition and making everything work in their favor. But of course, we're going to take a quick short break. When we come back, you guys get the panel once again.
The human body was built to move, not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Breaking news.
Hola gente, soy Hax y le voy a preguntar al Joker, ¿cuál es tu arma favorita?
¿Mi arma favorita?
Sí.
La espada bulla.
We are getting so close to wrapping up here at Free Fire EWC 25, and we have seen so many teams pick up booyahs today. It hasn't been a case of 1 to 2 teams dominating the leaderboard. It has been spread pretty evenly in the grouping so far for Group B and C. Gideon, I know you have a lot to talk about this. What is it just a case of everyone being equally skilled? Like, what's kind of happened today?
I think that is a very good point. It is the case of not only people being very skilled, but also adaptable strategies that can be templated again and again and again and evolving as the regular season goes on, coming into the international tournaments. I think for now, when we're looking at these match rankings, tell me, is it not clear that the East and West battle, everybody is looking for the top? Not one side is lopsided or stronger than the other.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I love as well the difference in terms of points on those on the left-hand side. Like, it's not too much. It's not top heavy compared to what we've seen yesterday's game. So I guess this is where really, when you talk about skills, everyone is skilled in this fight. And thus, the Booyah is being taken by different teams.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys, and I would like to add that I told you guys that this will happen. So R7, it's so capable, I mean, to go to the point rush, and some people normally, I mean, they usually think that LATAM teams, they are not strong enough, but R7, it's like the best team from LATAM so far, and they are so good. I'm so proud of them too, because, I don't know, I was kind of cheering for them. So yeah, it was such an amazing job.
Amazing job for them. Also, probably, I want to say maybe small factor, we had a bit of a mishap happening in that final circle. In particular, a certain boxing situation, which, okay, was that an accident, or do you guys feel like in the heat of the moment, it seemed like the right play to try and pick up your teammates, but then you know, you're kind of setting your team up to get picked off?
Well, I mean, let's look at these highlights, right? I think it's probably going to show up here pretty soon, sooner or later. But yes, Onik, unfortunately, coming up a little short-handed. I would say yes, it is a little bit of a missight, because it's not a team effort's mistake. It is one person's mistake. They understood that potentially we could get surrounded, potentially we were going to get attacked, but by the time they noticed that R7 was actually on the ledge above, and unfortunately one of the members of RRQ who slipped away, which Onik was the only one aware of it. R7 did not know that one of the members of RRQ had slipped away in the middle of that fight.
Yeah, he did try to fight towards the end. Managed to go for the knock, but it's just a 1v4, so it's tough. But the reason why, reason why they Onik Olympus boxed themselves in, because we're talking about Nexterra. We do have a boxing gym right here, so...
I was kind of missing RRQ because they were kind of, I don't know, I feel that they just disappeared in a moment during the matches. But when they were in the global finals in Brazil, they were like really good. So I was kind of missing them, and they showed to us like a good game. But at least R7, just got the booyah.
I mean, R7, they deserve the booyah, especially when they made the right calls coming into that final circle. Unfortunately for the Indonesians, just falling a little bit too short this late into the tournament. Now, we are getting ready to jump into match number 6, and probably the most highly anticipated one on the panel, because yes, again, we are going to be going on to the new map, Solara. I want to start a discussion on this because we did see the teams play on Solara yesterday. So we do... Okay, how do you feel this map is going to be for this matchup? Like, is it going to continue to be the X Factor map? Is maybe Group B going to have an advantage because they have actually played on that map yesterday? Because Group C haven't touched it yet. It's their first time playing on the map today.
I personally think that is going to be still rather chaotic overall. Luckily, Vitality is still playing, and they've shown that they've actually have some sort of a strategy. I haven't cracked the code on it just yet, but I'll get back to you guys when I do. Overall, the fights have been good, and I've noticed first 3 maps, pretty chill. First page, only a couple of teams will have double-digit numbers. Next 3 maps, we're seeing that, keep in mind, that very first page on the left side, when you see those rankings, double digits all the way through.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for this map specifically for Solara, yesterday, Team Vitality, the team who dubbed themselves King of Solara, has been denied. And none of the teams from yesterday, like coming into here, have grabbed a booyah in this map. But still, Team Vitality is on the top when we look at Group B and C. So I guess they would want to get that booyah and just put themselves up on the leaderboard.
Yeah, but there's also the thing, right? Is Vitality maybe setting themselves up to be sniped, right? Like if you call yourself king, someone's going to challenge that crown.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be like a Fluxo maybe, because I think they need to do like a good match right now, because 2 top 12, it's not what like the crowd in Brazil are kind of expecting. So it's not the result that we are used to see from Fluxo. So I hope it can be Fluxo maybe.
So we do have the overall rankings on the screen for you folks at home, and this is just a bit of a status update. Okay, now keep in mind, a lot of the teams towards the up end of the bracket, they are probably going to be Group B because they have played 2 days worth of matches. So do not panic if you are cheering for teams in Group A and C. They still have one more round tomorrow, but there are a couple teams in the danger zone, I believe. I've got Neptune here checking out the numbers just to double check. But at the moment, for Group B, who is at risk of being knocked down?
Well, Alpha 34, definitely out of all the teams from Group B mixed up with Group C, there's the ones like odd one out. Very close. 12 teams right now, and it's tough to call if they will be able to catch up. They're like second to the bottom. So
essentially, they need to booyah, is what you're saying.
I don't know if they'll be able to do it with just one booyah, because we were expecting at least 130 to keep yourself safe, and they're not there just yet.
Well, unfortunately, there's just not enough points to go around, so we'll have to let the teams fight it out and decide who is going to end the day with our last bag of points. But it looks like we're ready to jump into Solara, folks, so throwing it over to our casters right now. Husky and AJ, take it away for our final match of the night.
Thank you, Danny. Alpha 34 in trouble indeed, Mr. Neptune. They are down in the dumps at this point of time. 56 points in total. One final opportunity opportunity for this Brazilian squad to put a good amount of points up there on the leaderboard to stay in the game, to make it to Point Rush as well as the Grand Finals. But another team from Group B, Husky, you and I were just talking about them, Hot Shots, 85 points so far. They need a minimum of 15. 100 points is the benchmark we've got for these boys to make it through to the finals.
Neptune said that 130 is the safest spot, but for Hot Shot, I think 100.
Yeah, man.
And then you leave it up to the stars or the constellation or whatever you believe in out there. You know, if you're born in a, I don't know, like the rising sun, maybe.
Or believe in themselves?
Believe in themselves. Like, I'm pretty sure the Pakistani fans have been really riling up the chat. The damn Red Hawks, you know, these passionate fans seeing their teams play, even though they are going up against the odds.
Fluxo
versus
Dragons Esports. EMEA's going for the big ones at the very get-go, and Fluxo has not been having a great day here.
Come on.
40 points out of 5 games. This has been one of their weaker days, but of course, Fluxo has always done this. They always try to trick people into thinking that they're not top performers, only to grab the championship by the end of the day. But of course, EMEA is out there to impress, and they desperately need some points. But I don't know if Fluxo's the right team to be hitting down on, and Butchers in shows C-Mox. They're definitely not the right ones.
It's important for Fluxo to recover, right? They got 2 rounds in a row, they got nothing. But in this case, Alpha 34, they are here to play spoilers. Because realistically, Alpha 34 is not going to make it unless they break a world record in this round. But for Hot Shot, the conditions are so much easier, and this is going to decide all of it. And Saji is the first one to go down. Action needs to back up his team, but there is going to be a different member from behind. And Hisechi from behind to backstab Hot Shot. This could be the end of the run for the Pakistani squad. Alpha 34 about to ruin a fairy tale for Hot Shot Esports, and they certainly have done it. Hot Shot Esports left with just Hasu and Action.
Alpha not out of the deep end of the waters just yet. Just when you thought they were going to get wiped out, Luan gets revived back in here. It's a 2v2. It's a fair game so far. And on that revival, Luan is flying far, far away. It's a 2v2. Hot Shots can still get this done. And how beautiful, how poetic that the two teams we highlighted that desperately need some points will meet at the very first start here. Anas on the pickup, but R7 puts an end to that run. And Hot Shots, how unfortunate at the get-go here, the first squad to get eliminated.
R7, AF, Alpha 34, they knew that they couldn't make it, and they drag Hot Shot down right into oblivion with them. What a heartbreaking way to go to end that run. But again, commendable effort from Hot Shot throughout the entire league. Pakistani, we will remember you. And they've definitely left an impression, but here we go. Continuing the story, the bout between Dragons Esports and Fluxo is not done just yet, but Remind is going to be done in by Bobs as he goes down.
Yep, Dragons are most definitely going to be reminded you do not mess with Fluxo. The Brazilians may seem like they're having a bad day, but they're just hanging back, chilling as usual. Lost on the other hand, coming across one of the most dangerous Indonesian squads out there, and the focus is going to be on that recovery, picking up their team members. RRQ Dudes pulling in those revives in the nick of time to keep the squad still in play.
Might be another clash on screen between BRU and Evos 2, right? As the northern side of Studio. Obviously in this case we see the ping, a Dinoculus. It could be from Evos or R7, but I'm willing to bet it's R7 that got the scan onto BRU. If Evo sees it's coming, yeah, they're gonna just back off. We see them, R7, about to engage with BRU. Moji takes contact, almost goes down. Double glue wall to block off the engage, but Hacks and Games King finds one for themselves. Get high, gets a response on the Games King, but unfortunately for R7, BRU is not here to go down without a fight. 2 versus 2. Evo now joins in. Joker takes a hit. Get High gets knocked down. Joker fights Imgod. He gets traded by Rasia. Della finishes off Get High. Both R7 and BRU are crippled.
A surprising 3-way battle here. R7 jumping on and into a fight where they most definitely did not want to look for more out of. And a 2v1 now. Della, clutch God. Can he walk away with something? Aim God himself says, hell no, Mustachio. We're here to play, and he had the meta gun M590 in his hands. And R7 just slowed down a tad bit here. It's not the end for the Movistar squad just yet. We'll see more from them in a little bit, but EVOS back to their high-scoring ways.
And BRU, Wasana able to slip away into the shadows just now. In the midst of all the chaos, bringing Moshi back into the fray, keeping BRU alive in this run. We've lost two teams pretty early on, Hotshot Esports and R7, no longer part of the equation, but at least R7, at least for R7, they still have a chance tomorrow. 6 more rounds to work with. Vitality and Core Memory though, this is their last.
Pakistan, I know they are deeply disappointed that Hotshot Esports got eliminated too early here, but a little bit of a fun fact, last year at EWC 24 Hotshots, they managed to walk away with 80 points. This time they did slightly better, 87 points, but is that going to be enough to keep them in the top 12? We will see tomorrow as Group B takes on Group C. This is the final game here for Group B. Group A takes on Group C tomorrow. The final game here for Group B, and unfortunately for Hotshots, their run comes to a tad bit of a premature end. And like you said, man, it's all up to the stars or whatever the fans believe in at this point of time to keep the squad in.
It's definitely one of those stories that it left an impression a lot more compared to last year, but almost the same ending. 1-7 runs down Ma'al. Again, RRQ just not having the start that they want. Early on, we see Abai getting taken down, getting brought back, and now Ma'al is the victim. And for Alpha 34, they know it's all for the marbles. They have nothing to lose. If what it takes to qualify is to break a world record, they might as well hell do it right now.
Absolutely, and this is the fire that we are talking about, right? Alpha 34 understanding exactly what is required, and they start things off hot. And as the stars aligned for them, they came across Hotshots who were vying for that spot with them as well. And they will find more players off of RRQ. One straggler, 18 Deer. The Drogon doesn't get to save him. As Luan finds him with the M590 yet again. The next circle, though, is going to be key for the reposition for a majority of the squads here, especially Lost, who may just come across Onik, who wants to rotate far in towards that circle as well.
And with the circle closing in towards TV Tower, I think Alpha 34 instead makes a rotation. Early on, they scan out where RRQ members are at, but Alpha 34, they want more. Let's see if that greed pays off. One of 7 deadly sins is going to lead them straight into Vitality and Core Memory.
Yeah, Alpha 34, initially their rotations were solid, but now into troubled waters. We'll have to catch up with them in a bit. Outside the circle, we do spot the players of EVOS. Just chilling around, looking for that loot. Circle 2 doesn't hurt just yet, but in 20 seconds, Circle 3, that's where trouble will come. And this light rail is gonna bring EVOS directly to Buriram. This does not seem like a fun pathing for the Indonesian squad.
I think you stop here, you rotate southbound. There is a vending machine to work with to stock up before you hit south again to Bloomtown. That is the optimal one, considering what we can see. But for the teams, let's see if they can make that educated guess. It is once more a dice roll in this case. They dropped the Dinoculus. EVOS actually scanned out where BRU are. All 4 members of BRU at Archway. So this could give them the confirmation that they need to go southbound. Unless EVOS feels a bit peckish and they want to take on a different squad.
Well, if they want a snack, you know exactly where to find that. And Solara is not one of the newest map out there. Not many teams have found full-on dominance here. Vitality calls themselves the kings of Solara. And in Southeast Asia, they most definitely have proven time and time again their capability to find dominance on this map. But thus far, no points on their side. Does not mean that they're not going to dominate this just yet, because they've been out of trouble, out of this competition. No glue walls, no medkits have been wasted so far, but they are in very, very close quarters here up against Core Memory, who's at the top of the leaderboard and perhaps a little bit hungry for those points, because this is their last game as well.
My heart stopped for Fluxo. They took so long to rotate. This could cost them big time. And I think it's fair for us to, for me to at least say this, right? It's the last round of the knockout stage. They most likely will qualify. Raja, if you're listening, I gotta say, Fluxo, they have been a bit sloppy on this rotation. They're taking a bit too much of their sweet time. And a lot of times we see Fluxo, they make the rotation sure, but they lose like 60% of their health bar. They have to be a bit more efficient with those moves. And thankfully this time there was no team to really mess up that movement. So they make it through. They get a good Dinoculus scan. They get a good compound to work with just a little bit. But if we make it to the point rush and Fluxo pulls this off, it is going to really bite them in the back.
What's crazy is the lowest bar that we had set was 100 points here. and they started off this game with 101. They've picked up 4 points now. They're sitting at 105. This is still a very risky zone for Fluxo. Can you imagine a world where they do not make it to point rush? That would be absolutely insane. And perhaps Dragons Esports could have a round 2 with Fluxo to stop them, perhaps gatekeep them as well. But this is going to be a crazy circle to enter, because whatever compound that is available for defense has already been occupied. You only have to deal with the outer ranges, which is just wide open range, where you will have to use up a lot of your glue walls very early on. Fluxo is in a ton of trouble, and Loss, I believe, is about to come across them as well.
And I just like that you brought up Loss, because this has been the kryptonite of Fluxo.
Yes.
Beat them in the domestic league, and right now might be the team to snuff them out once more. And I think Fluxo knows this. They saw 4 members, 4 hostiles across the horizon, and Lost.
They won it.
They're going to take the fight. Here they go. Are they going to make the call right now?
They send in Rigby first.
Top 3 rushes. Here we go. Electrotherapy. We see that from the Cassie. And following out to Fluxo. The Retire Rhythm just for cautionary purposes. The glue walls put up. This is such great movement from Lost. They're trying to corral Fluxo, and now Lost finds a good spot. Haone again from above takes down GU.
Great plays with the RGS 50 and the LMG as well. Round 1 will wreck the opportunity of Fluxo. GU desperately trying to hold on here. 105 points. Is this going to be enough for Fluxo to hang on? Had a round picked up once again. And Fluxo, on the other hand, having the floor wiped with them. Could this be the end of the Brazilian champions?
Once more, the Campeonas, La Campeonas of Brazil, Lost, showing what they are made of. Numero 1 in the region, kryptonite of Fluxo, and a heroic play from Haone to set things up for the squad. Really showing that Vamos mindset from the region. Just sheer cold-blooded engagement. Fluxo, like you said, AJ, they are in the red zone after this round.
Dude, I did not expect Fluxo to be in the red zone. Never would I have ever thought this is what we see out of your 2-time world champs. No aggression. I thought they were hanging back, but perhaps they played with fire a tad bit too much. Now they need to depend on Lady Luck. They need to count on the stars in the sky and wait for them to align. But I don't know if the universe will abide by what they want. But the circle is just teasing everyone at this point. It just goes straight directly towards Loss. And Loss has got the time in the world, all the time in the world, to play this recovery and wait for everybody else to approach them in the open grounds.
The one team that can stop them is Onik, and Onik are not going to wait. We saw Onik in the previous round, they got impatient, that's why R7 walked away, but this time it could be different, as R7, Effie Sechi from the side of AF, the different R7, runs into BRU, still bleeding out, and he can pick back out very quickly, has the blue to deal with. Evo's also around the corner, 3 different teams, BRU looking to run away, Ray wants to take down that member, but somehow couldn't land enough shots. Evo's now guards the perimeter of this compound. They have a good chance to pick up a couple of stragglers across the horizon. RRQ now is going to show up on the radar as Wasana takes out Liz, is about to get messy.
Absolutely, R7 down on the ground, bleeding out. Alpha desperately needs those solid points. Whatever they can put on the table, they most desperately need it for themselves. But Evos with the brilliant reposition on the jump pad, turning around, and Rasia of all players finding that long shot. And the first grenade elimination 13 minutes into the map is insane, but we see it out of Evos.
I believe that Onik just got wiped out, Alpha 34 as well. The story finally has this final chapter penned. A full stop for this squad, the underdogs of the Brazilian region, joining Fluxo out in the lobby. Kochu, just a point-blank grenade launcher into 18 Deer's face. He's a deer in the headlights. Another elimination, 11 points for Evos as they continue to run into the safe zone, but they're getting shot at by Jonah. They're getting shot at by RRQ. They're getting shot at by Vitality.
Onik, unfortunate for them this time around, they don't get to put on more points on the leaderboard. They'll have to wait for tomorrow. Thankfully, they are in Group C. But Vitality, on the other hand, the ones that call themselves the Kings of Solara, finding a couple of points out there, getting those knocks, those crucial ones on top of everything else, looking for that high ground, but that should not be where you go, because the circle will not be in your favor. Core Memory finding their back. A couple of glue walls that they erect, blocking out their shots as well. And that will play against them as Koja lobs in a phenomenal God nade.
Good exchange from Cougar to take him out as Koja now turns his attention over to Evos. Kyung now joins the fray. Core Memory, they've laid low the entire game just to cash in on this moment, but it seems like it's not paying out so far. Rip Tyrant for Kochu to try and expose Vitality, but they have enough resources to stay alive as Jump ends the lifeline of Evos. Kochu gets knocked out in 6th place. Jump now turns over to Koja, but here comes the full rush from Vitality. Fire is on the red. Jump could not finish the job. Koja once more pulls through in the end as Lost shows himself on the kill feed. Cougar goes down. It's down to 2 for Core Memory.
Vitality now dealing with the circle as well, but Lost taking advantage from the opposite side of the battlefield. Long range shots, and as anticipated, the circle going to move on to the flatter lower grounds. Koja with a mad rotation here, right outside the circle, has to absorb some damage from the blue, straight into the vehicle, but that was an insane play as Hawan puts him out of the race. Vitality eliminated in 5th.
Desperation move from the side of Vitality. 5th place is all they have. The jump pad left behind by the remnants of an opponent. Seafox finally shows his face. But Rigby picks up that kill. A stolen point. Dragon Esports, they make their move as well. He's dead against Lost, taking the fight straight towards the Brazilian Kings. There's Core Memory out in 4th. There's only 2 full squads left. Unfortunately, for the side of General, he gets knocked down. Bats MT60 joins in and takes out the rest of Dragon Esports. They will clean out the remnants of this. And unfortunately for Dragon, there's just not enough for them to stand toe-to-toe with Lost. And it's only RRQ with the last remnants of the members on the map. And there's nothing that Ma'au can do. Lost gets the booyah, and Lost once more proves why they are the kings of Brazil.
No Fluxo, no problem, baby. Your #1 squad out of the Brazilian League is here to play and here to dominate. What a massive game out of Lost. 21 eliminations strong. And there ain't nobody out there who can keep up with the pressure that they are bringing on to right now. Falcons are going to have their hands full tomorrow with this team.
Flashbacks from last year when some of them were still with Netshoes minus GG. They almost made that Cinderella story happen. Not in the group stage, but in the grand finals. 2 back-to-back booyahs in round 4 and 5, only to fall in the Falcons' nest in round number 6. But then you look back, and now you look at some of them who survived the purge, who became members of Lost, winning domestically over Fluxo by a hair's inch, and right now might just have been the Grim Reaper and the executioner for one of the best teams in the world, a 2-time world champion Fluxo. Lost has put themselves in a powerful spot.
They definitely have seen EWC 24, Hanaral Nando 9, Ra 1, under minus GG, and they were the squad that stole everybody's hearts. They shocked the world with their performance. They were the underdogs for sure out of Brazil. Nobody expected them to make big plays, but big plays they sure as hell made. But now as Lost, they have found their way and they are looking for sheer dominance. Last year it could have been the Falcons. Last year Thailand reigned supreme. This time Brazil looking to make quite a bit of noise out there.
And what a poetic way to say it as well. Lost, previously Los Grandes, literally translates to the big brother, the big team, and the big challenger, all the way from Brazil onto the Esports World Cup stage. And if there's one way for them to make everyone remember, and it's not through their name, it's through that gameplay.
Absolutely, man. I mean, some solid, phenomenal action out there, and it wasn't as if they were tiptoeing around the circle, and they were not looking for fights at the same time. Whatever came their way, they made the best of it, and the first thing they made best of was finding Fluxo out in the open. Not only do they put a stop to them, they also increase their chances of dominating Point Rush as well as Grand Finals, because who knows them better than Fluxo? Who can probably put a stop to them and their rotations other than Fluxo? They are looking to take out one of their biggest threats out there, and as luck would just have it out here on the Solara map, they would encounter each other so early on, and Fluxo didn't manage to pull away those solid points. A huge miss for Fluxo, a phenomenal gain for Lost, and they just continue to pummel down squad after squad. We've got the interview on stage with a player of Lost. Let's head on over to Yunsol. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.
Welcome to the Amazon post-match interview. I'm Carol Bombshell, and we just finished the last match for the knockout stage, especially for Group B that won't play tomorrow anymore. And that's why we have to have a word with Fluxo team, and I'm here with Bobs, the team captain. Let's talk to him about the today performance for Fluxo. For sure, today was not your best day, and you guys have 2 top 12 finishers and a lot of ups and downs. Is there any specific reason to explain this performance today? Com certeza vocês não tiveram o melhor dia de vocês, tiveram muitos altos e baixos. Tem alguma razão para explicar sobre o que aconteceu hoje?
Na verdade, não sei muito o que falar, né? Jogamos muito mal ontem, jogamos muito mal hoje. Nesse campeonato não sei o que acontece, nós não conseguimos nos performar bem. E se passar vai ser... Querendo ou não, vai ser sorte, mas se passar, vamos dar tudo na final, rever os nossos erros e ir bem na final, que é o nosso objetivo, ser campeão. Sonhamos com esse campeonato todos os dias, desde o ano passado. Não paramos um minuto de pensar nele sequer, mas infelizmente ocorreu como ocorreu hoje e também ontem. Não foi o nosso melhor dia e foi uma atuação bem abaixo da nossa, então é isso.
There's not much to say. We know that this tournament is really important to us, but we did our best. Yesterday also was not our best day, our best performance, but we dream about AWC every day. And right now, if we go to the next stage, to the point rush and make to the finals, for sure we're gonna try to see what was our mistakes, and we'll for sure get better to play at the grand finals. And for our last question is about Los. Your fight against Los was definitely one of the toughest moments for you guys today. Do you think they have figured out what was your play style and now they know how to knock you down and take you out of the competition? Com certeza, as partidas contra Los foi um dos momentos mais altos do dia hoje. Eles também são um time brasileiro. Vocês acham que eles já sabem o estilo de jogo de vocês e é por isso que eles sabem como tirar vocês das partidas? Eles estudaram vocês?
Eu acho que todos os times estudam nós somos atuais campeões do mundo no FFWS, então todos os times chegam a estudar, mas sobre a Los eu acho que foi pura coincidência, não tem como saber se era nós, então eles apenas estavam jogando o jogo deles e acabou que trombamos com eles 2 vezes morremos, infelizmente, então é mais desmérito nosso.
Alright, good answer. Yes, for sure, Los, they know how we play, but most of teams here know how we play. We are the reigning champions of Free Fire world global, and most of them know our play style. So right now we just need to focus on ourselves right now and pray that we are going to advance to the next phase. Guys, today we have watched some high-level Free Fire action here, and I am more than happy to be here with you all. And right now, I'm more than happy to send to this next leader. They're gonna talk to you. They're gonna to do an interview. Yusu, the stage, it's all yours.
Hi everyone, that's our Carol Bombshell, and this is our little conversations with Evos. Hi Evos.
Hello.
Hi Ray. Okay, so this is our second day and also our last competition day, right?
Yep.
Do you satisfied with the match today? How's everything's going?
Jadi hari ini kamu merasa puas gak dengan total poin di 2 hari?
Nggak terlalu puas lah, karena kita masih banyak mistake yang kita lakuin.
He's not satisfied enough because there's so many mistakes that we did.
Oh yeah, but many mistakes, but you guys already make it to the point rush and the final stage, so I think you guys still have plenty of times to practice, so it's okay. Did a very good job already.
Thank you.
So our second questions, since you guys have a very good sniper, Rasya. So do you think that he make a huge difference in your team? And do you think that with Rasya, you guys can become the champion of AWC 2025?
Menurut kamu, sekarang kan di tim kita ada Rasya. Terus menurut kamu Rasya membuat impact yang sangat besar nggak di tim kita? Dan menurut kamu kita bisa dapat menang nggak di EWC 2025?
Menurutku datangnya Rasya impactnya besar lah ke tim, karena di tim kita tuh nggak ada support kemarin. Karena dia masuk, mungkin tim kita bisa jadi lebih baik.
Okay, so on the last year, we got no support at all. Then Rasya make a big impact for our team, so it's really helpful for us.
So are you confident enough that you guys will become the champion of AWC 2025?
Kamu pede nggak kita bisa bakal menang EWC 2025?
Pede 100%.
So he said that we're 100% confident.
I love the energy. That is 100% come from EVOS. Thank you so much. And now I hope you guys can have a good rest at home and get prepared for the point rush and of course the final stage. Okay, good luck to you, Ray.
Thank you.
Let's throw back to our studio. Bye-bye.
Love you.
Thank you, Yunsol. Thank you, Carol, for the interviews. And I am glad we got to hear some final words from Fluxo and EVOS because these two teams, they're done for the tournament and they basically have to wait to see where they end up on that leaderboard after tomorrow's matches because if you guys didn't know, Group B, they've played all of their games. And I mean, I think the team said it right. It's not too much of a stretch to say they're not really happy with their performance the past 2 days.
Yeah, I can feel a contrast on both, like energy from both teams or representative, like Bob's really sad. He's feeling like they could have done so much in those matches. For Evo Divine, yeah, they're saying that there's a lot of mistakes, but currently they're number one. So I doubt that they will be doing so much of adjustment. It's only a minor adjustment that they can be champs.
I think at the very least, looking at their performance and looking at, as you mentioned, their energy, they probably wanted to do better. But keep in mind that these teams have been scrimming against each other pretty much every single day, right? They have 4 scrims back at their hotel and then 2 scrims here for not only our production team to make sure that everything goes smoothly, but just to kind of be accommodating and enjoy the little space. That's why it feels that even for Fluxo saying they know our playstyle, when you've got 6 scrims, 12 games on top of the extra 6 official games, they played a multitude of matches against everybody in the arena.
Well, I think for EVOS, it's just okay because yesterday they did like a stable game. But for Fluxo, it's going to be really hard to maybe pass through this knockout stage and get into the point rush. So they need to pray to see how the teams will do yesterday, which I think is not like a good thing to do because today probably will be, I mean, easier because of the group, you know. So I think they are kind of worried about that too.
Well, let's see how much we have to worry as we check out the overall rankings for today's matches because we need to figure out where everyone currently is. Now, again, I'm going to remind you all, teams in Group B, they have finished all of their games and their points are going to look a little inflated compared to the other groups because they have played 2 days of Free Fire. Group A and C will be catching up with their final matches tomorrow, and that is going to be the end of the knockout stage. Now, Neptune, the man, the master of numbers, okay? Just looking at the leaderboard, and I want you to focus on teams in Group B. What do you think, in your opinion, based on the prediction, is going to be a safe number to cut you into top 12?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at 130, 135, around that range to be able to maintain your spot on the top 12. So there's a lot already from those in Group B that haven't made that cut. Well, we mentioned about Alpha 34 is already 68 points. We also have Fluxo like 106, unless the other teams from the next day would not be performing that well. Yes, they might be able to take that, but I'm just surprised with Lost right now. Imagine for one day it's 102 points and they just didn't slow down.
They didn't slow down, they looked great and they continue to look great, and I mean they're showing off that they deserve to be champions of the region, right? People are thinking, oh, is LOS really that good? Did they get lucky when they ended up winning their matches and even the Brazil finals? But I mean, I think it goes to show, just seeing their matches over the course of this week, they deserve everything that they've gotten.
Yeah, I mean, we can even say that they don't deserve right after they did like a match with 18 eliminations, something like that. It was a bunch of eliminations, so they are really capable of, I mean, getting the trophy for them, and they have like one of the best rusher player. So I mean, I think this kind of helped them, and they are really confident, so they will keep like playing like that, and they maybe can get really the trophy. And we normally see like Bury Run like playing in this way, but I don't know if they are kind of hiding the game. I don't know, but Luz is showing to us that they can win the tournament.
Okay, Gideon, Neptune. I'm of the opinion, I feel like Buriram are hiding strats. Like, yes, okay, they don't look amazing today, but it almost feels intentional. Like they're trying to take that target off of their back because, I mean, we all know, anyone that follows Free Fire, Buriram is a household name. Everybody knows every single player within the roster. So is that the play here for Buriram, maybe?
I think that may be the play, but I also think there's not enough incentive for Buriram to do extremely well. Because why is there, right? It's just a knockout stage. We all know that Buriram is like really good in every single knockout stage you've ever been in. This is the one exception. But being first doesn't mean that you get an advantage coming into the point rush or assuming that they beat the point rush, which I'm hoping that's when we're going to see the real Buriram.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at some point, there's no pressure for the teams who are really performing. Top 12 is the target for everyone. And for Bermuda United, I know we joked around, dubbed them as a knockout stage kings or knockout kings, and then dropped the ball towards the grand finals. So they just don't want to show all the cards just yet. And then later on, when it really matters, the incentive is much bigger, and then that's when they show up.
So they're essentially breaking the curse, right? The old curse of Free Fire. You do well in the knockouts, and then all of a sudden everyone knocks you out in the finals.
I mean, there are like moments of that, right? We see that a couple of games they're able to score 30 points, 30 whopping points in 2 maps alone to kind of really accumulate it, which goes to show that it's not like they want to get eliminated or anything. They just understand the thresholds that they need to hit. Neptune has already mentioned 120 points is generally a pretty safe area. So notice how they're like roughly around 60. I'm assuming they want another 60 tomorrow.
I mean, they've got a full play day. Now, here's the thing. They are going to be playing up against teams in Group A. And Group A added an interesting dynamic yesterday. So what could we expect for our matches tomorrow? Because we're going to bring the Falcons back in, and the Falcons looked fantastic yesterday.
I think... Ooh, I want to say like they're going to come out of the gate swinging here, right? You know, they're going to just be punching back and forth. But I think Group A, after day number 1, they've kind of witnessed what Group B had to deal with. They're going to understand what Group C is going to try and do. There's probably a target on LOS's back. Let's be real here. They've had some really good games. I think they're going to take it a lot slower, right? Falcons, especially seeing how Evo Savine got maybe targeted to a certain degree. More importantly, their landing spots got contested. We're just going to see them kind of maybe diversify.
Yeah, I mean, Team Falcons, they just rocked that first match from yesterday. And then they slowed down, not really putting so much in terms of elimination. And they got to 98 points from that day. Now, being beat by, I would say, some teams like Lost, I think because of the number of games as well as the gap between the points, they want to bring a lot more for tomorrow. So I'm feeling that aggressiveness will be coming from Team Falcons, but they're not the careless, aggressive team. They're still tactical. So it would be tough for the teams who will be playing for today, even for Bermuda United, who tried to lay low today, because tomorrow they might still be gunned down.
Yeah, you can't afford to lay low. A little too low, if I might add. Now, I do believe our Kadia top plays for the day are ready. So let's have a look and see what were our highlight matches that you need to go back and watch, because we do have several of these, and just look at these shots. Holy moly, Gideon.
I think we've seen some of the tightest angles because we're noticing that, you know, teams are really taking advantage of like, hey, small little corners, making sure that they can see even if the tip of their head or even if they're just their shoulders enough. Sometimes they won't even take the shot. They'll wait until they start seeing ears before they pull the trigger.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for the snipers, especially in this level of competition, they just wait for that pixel and then they make those shots. And I love how the teams as well are not just utilizing the snipers, but also the cord, an LMG. So much damage, great accuracy. Fire rate, it's like a sniper, but it's much stronger.
And just going off the highlights as well, gentlemen, I kind of feel like this year's EWC teams are, of course, we are still seeing highlight plays, but we're not seeing anything crazy, right? We're not seeing those monster trucks saving the day for teams in the final circles. We're not seeing medkit wars between teams either. So I kind of wonder, is everyone playing a little bit slightly safer? No unconventional strats, because they're trying to stay in the tournament.
There's one though. that attempt of an unconventional gameplay. 18 tier trying to go in for another clutch. That is where we known him from last year. The 1v3 clutch king. That is what 18 tier has. And that probably is the reason why he got acquired by RRQ. But he tried earlier. It failed, if I'm not mistaken, twice.
Yeah. Now, sorry there, Gideon. We have to highlight a very important player here at the tournament. We have our Sony hero of the day. Let's see who ended up getting nominated. Oh boy, our MVP is Della.
Well, I'm really happy to see like a Latam player, and I told you guys this might going to happen today. And I mean, he's really good. All the players from the team, they have like such a chemistry, synergy. So it's really good to see like Latam growing in like global tournaments, just like EWC. So I'm really impressed about it, and I think all of the players there are kind of rising star, you know, they are like growing and I found that so interesting.
Raja, I want to ask you something about the region in general, right? You are a specialist of Latam, Brazil. Do you feel like the region is just getting better and better every year? Because I feel like the region is producing even higher players.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I think they create like such an amazing team. I mean, what? It's because of the
the synergy.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm kind of.
It's like the teamwork. Yeah.
No, it's because they did like a dream team. They try to bring into Latam like a dream team. So R7 is like one of the best that we have ever seen in Latam. So I think it's because of that. They just mix all the players like a good rusher and a good sniper, and they put everything together, and that's the result. So I think now they are kind of smart doing that, you know. So maybe in the next tournament we can see like more Latin players, more good teams, like in a different way that they used to do. Like they used to create the teams, you know, to choose the players.
I suspect we might be getting some more slots for the region.
Oh.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Garina, are you listening? Because they've been giving us some fantastic plays here. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the end of day 2 at Free Fire at EWC 25. Thank you so much to my panelists for sharing your knowledge of the game and the teams with us today. Any final words for you guys before we close the show?
I would say like I'm really lucky to be here right now, to be able to see all things that has been happening, but really excited that it's not just one region who's rocking the board. There's a lot of diversity that has been happening already. So thank you to all the teams who played, and hopefully like they won't disappoint us for tomorrow.
Yeah, huge shout out to the teams, and also huge shout out to some of the fans that actually showed up to the venue, particularly, you know, Team Vitality. They've got their members to give some support. I'm expecting once the public is coming in to see these matches live at that arena, it's going to be one hell of a day.
Well, I'm really happy to be here. I'm really happy to be how it's going, like with all the teams. I like to watch the Asian teams playing too, so I'm not that type of fanatic, but I mean, it's a pleasure to be here, and I think that's everything for today.
Okay, thank you, Raja, thank you, Neptune, and thank you, Gideon, and thank you to all of our beautiful viewers for sticking around and watching some amazing games of Free Fire here at EWC 25. But don't leave the broadcast. I want you guys to bookmark the page, and I want you all to come back tomorrow at the exact same time, because we're not done here at EWC. We still have Groups A and C ready to play their final rounds of games. We're going to find out tomorrow who's going to be making it to the next stage of the tournament. But until then, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you all bright and early tomorrow.